DVD, and I just plugged a DVD player in, but I didn't have it plugged all the way in. So for some reason, I wasn't getting color. I was getting black and white because it wasn't plugged in properly.
That's one of those artsy-fartsy
I did.
things.
I was like, God, why did they get so artsy on this thing? It's in black and white. And I mentioned it on the show, and you were like, it's not black and white. That movie's in color. Or was it black and white on my TV? I would go better career
I'm going to go
Manilow.
Barry Manilow,
Yeah.
but she also, I mean, she was just in the John Wick franchise. I mean, she's still getting some work.
Yeah.
He has currently, at 81 years old, over 4 million listeners a month on Spotify.
Barry Manilow does.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow.
4 million.
I mean, is Mandy his top song?
Copacabana.
Copacabana. Oh, it's terrible.
Well, in that demographic, they talk about difficulties of the digital world, right?
Yeah.
Unless you just throw it on people's playlists.
I mean, there could be nobody under 60 listening to Barry Manilow on a consistent
I mean,
basis.
is he
You
still
don't
on
think a
tour?
25-year-old, you don't think Taylor's all obsessed with Barry Manilow?
I bet she couldn't name a Barry Manilow song.
Got to get my BM on.
Does he still tour?
Well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
For some reason, I always thought he was Martin Short in makeup. Every time I saw him, I thought it was Martin Short in character.
He
Anyway,
looked a little like Joe Montana.
Martin Short and makeup.
Third down.
Venus Williams, 44 today. Better career, Venus Williams or Robin Williams?
Robin.
If you'd gone Serena, it's easy. I think Robin Williams had a better career than Venus, though.
Yeah.
A truncated career,
If
unfortunately.
you ever see the movie King Richard, which I don't know, I just watched it one day, just out of just I don't know why.
Yeah.
I was bored. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and it's really a fascinating story on Venus's role in Serena in her career. So she was obviously really instrumental in the success of Serena. Venus, for a good amount of time, was the number one player in the world.
until her sister came along.
But Robin Williams could do absolutely everything.
He could. I mean, he had great. Everybody wanted him to be funny, but he had a wide variety of stuff he could do.
Oh, I mean, he won his only Oscar for a dramatic role, and was everything he was nominated for outside of Good Morning Vietnam was for dramatic roles.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he's not going to get nominated for toys.
How old would he? Oh, that was a terrible movie. How old would he be right now?
Oh, God.
Close to, he'd be over 70,
But
probably 75.
I mean, would still be working. Would still be in demand.
A lot of energy. A lot of drugs.
Oh, yeah.
Fourth down.
Kendrick Lamar, 37 today. Big Drake fan, by the way. Kendrick's not. Kendrick Lamar, 37. Better career, Kendrick Lamar or Lamar Jackson?
Odom. Oh, Lamar Jackson. Thought you could go
Can't
Lamar
go
Odom.
Lamar Odom. That would be.
Lamar Latrell from Revenge of the Nerds.
I think I would go Kendrick Lamar because Lamar Jackson hasn't won the Super Bowl yet.
He hadn't done anything in the postseason,
Yeah. If he didn't win a Super Bowl,
I would go Kendrick Lamar right now at this point, but we'll see.
All right, Slice brings you 4 downs there.
Yeah, 5 great locations. Stop and see the Bajaya Brothers, local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
At the Pennant Grace on Twitter is where you follow them. They're going live at 12:15. The Meltdown live today at 2, right there on Disrupt the Media at Meltdown 247. So get that one live at 2 with Melton and Jon Lunceford. We've got fresh content up from Village Vice at War Down Pods, and some content from last night still fresh right there at Roll Tide Pods. You can watch all of that on our platforms. We thank you for watching us today, and we'll be back with you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Have a great day.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live will share the latest interviews and videos from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and campuses all over the college landscape. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Live daily show. Jim, Lance, and Ryan will share their thoughts, and remember, you can always see the old shows on the Next Round Live YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and don't forget to comment. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. It's Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
You've been wearing that thin, raggedy t-shirt for years now, and people cannot stop whispering and staring in your vicinity. We've all been there. Luckily, there's a solution to your lack of fashion and social cues. At NextRound.store, they have plenty of options when it comes to a variety of shirts and hats. Once you start putting that Next Round gear on, be prepared to make new lifelong friends and hundreds of unforgettable conversations. Hope you like random high fives in the street. because that's what you're getting after visiting nextround.store.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, another day of The Next Round. Along with Lance Taylor, I'm Ryan Brown. Dunaway out again today. He will be on vacation this week, back with us next week. Rockstar is here. Forrester, Tyler, the entire gang. Little T handling the social media. Waving from the back row. Lunceford. Everybody except Dunaway. Hey, we got a big show coming up today. Clay Travis going to join us. Normally, we kind of like have a little surprise on our 40 and 40. Sometimes the guest indicates who our 40 and 40 is going to be. We'll still unveil it like it's a surprise. Gino Torretta, the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback from the Miami Hurricanes.
So could it be Alabama?
Could be. You never know. He saw them play once.
He did. He did.
So we will talk with Gino coming up on the show a little bit later on. I actually like Gino. He was kind of like he was like villainized by Alabama fans. Like he became the focus of.
Well, I think he was villainized by almost anybody back there because Miami was so good.
Yeah,
and
that's
him
true.
winning a Heisman Trophy. I don't know where you would put him in the pecking order of Miami quarterbacks.
That's a good one. Yeah,
like when you look at the entirety of their careers. I mean, obviously Jim Kelly, Bernie Kosar, those guys were much better. I even think Ken Dorsey might have been a better quarterback at Miami than Torretta, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look at that. And the numbers are going to be different based on era.
Testaverde, it's Jim Kelly. He doesn't get remembered because he wasn't on those championship teams, but Jim Kelly was really good there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The entirety of their career, Jim Kelly was the best. And then I probably would say Bernie Kosar was number 2.
Yeah. Testaverde, would he be?
Maybe Testaverde would be number 2 because Testaverde did win a Heisman Trophy too.
Yeah.
And he had a long NFL career. I think Testaverde, unfortunately was with the Bucs for so long. But he had the Jets within a half of going to a Super Bowl.
No, Testaverde's a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. And he was there forever. He played in his 40s.
He did. They had a really, really good run of quarterbacks. And Gino Torretta was part of that. I mean, that was a feared team when Alabama played them in the national championship game. But he's here to talk about this year's team, who's got a quarterback that you think could potentially touch that category.
I do. I think Cam Ward is going to be fantastic. I mean, you look at a guy, he's thrown for over 13,000 yards in his collegiate career, over 113 touchdowns, I think is the number. He has been incredible, and I think that talent will go. He'll be playing with more talent in Miami. I would say the conference is equal. If you go back last year, the Pac-12 was better than the ACC. But I think he is going to be the difference maker for Miami.
Yeah.
And I think Miami is going to be a team outside of more than likely Mario Cristobal will find a way to lose them a game. He always does. But I still think Miami, based on this schedule and some of the talent they've got coming in, including Damian Martinez, one of the best running backs in college football coming in from Oregon State, it's going to be a fun team to watch.
Yep. So we'll talk a lot about Miami coming up a little bit later on our 40 and 40 team. Today, that's always presented by mybookie.ag, code next round, mybookie.ag, code next round, our 40 and 40. The NBA ended last night. The Boston Celtics got their first championship since 2008. They partied in the streets. A bunch of people got arrested. A couple of minors I saw today got arrested. Up late partying.
Fun for the whole city.
Yeah, I guess so. All ages got involved last night. But a party in Boston, they are not accustomed to waiting that long between championships, I guess, really, when you look back at it.
No, when you look at Boston, the second most championships in the NBA behind just the Lakers. It's a great organization, but boy, they were starving. And, collectively, this has been the best team over the last 3 years. They haven't had the most talent necessarily. I mean, Tatum and Jaylen Brown are complete studs. And then you throw in a Drew Holiday. I mean, it was just a great overall team. And, for them to come out and play, and I know it's the NBA Finals, and you kind of have to do this, but we've seen teams up 3-0. You get a little lackadaisical, and the next thing you know, it's 3-2. They didn't want to go back to Dallas for Game 6 because Dallas in that situation would have been a slight favorite. And then if you come back to Game 7, pressure's all on the Celtics. End it in 5. They did it. They did it in go-away fashion. I hate to say congratulations to the Celtics.
Yeah, you're a Lakers guy.
It hurts. I've always loved their uniforms.
Right.
I love the court back in the old Boston Garden
days.
The
old parquet. Do you like the little leprechaun with the cane, that logo? I think that's a classic logo.
Oh, yeah.
You like that with the basket, the cane, and the basketball? I guess that's a leprechaun, right? I mean, that's
so
what that
Celtics
is.
passed the Lakers. They've got 18. Lakers have 17.
Yeah, I was about to tell you. I did some. Would the Lakers have one that was
Minneapolis?
Well, no, but they've got one that was the NBL before the NBA.
Okay. I thought it was 18-18.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I think it.
I was almost positive the Lakers had 18.
Well, the reason I said I did some research, stuff that I was going to bring up later. They've got 17 NBA championships and 1 NBL championship. I don't really know what the NBA was. Oh, that's when they were the Lakers. Okay, that was the Lakers season.
That's the equivalent of the the People's National Championship.
Yeah, I don't know. I know.
We'll count
it. We'll count it. All of the Celtics, they're 18, are all NBA. The Lakers technically have 17 NBA championships.
Yeah, you can tell we've got, and this is a generational thing. If you're a Celtics fan, you're around our age. If
Probably
you're a
so.
Lakers fan, I guess it depends. Lakers have always been that Showtime. And I think they gathered some fans with Kobe and Shaq and now with LeBron James. But if you're a Celtics fan, more than likely, if you're not from the Northeast, you're around our age.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I know when I was growing up, the white kids were Celtics fans, the black kids were Lakers fans primarily. I mean, that's the way it kind of rolled when I was growing up. And the white kids had the Birds, and the black kids had the Magics.
The Magic
the Converse,
weapons.
You remember the Converse?
Oh, yeah, the weapons.
Yeah.
It was one of the greatest ad campaigns in the history of ads. And Volfan 205, Lakers have 16. We don't count COVID championships. Also, the Dodgers have one less.
Wow.
All I would say, when did Tennessee not beat Florida State with a backup quarterback?
I think so, yeah. And that national championship game. Marcus Outzen.
Yeah, I wouldn't count that Tennessee national
Would you
championship.
not? Because they didn't have their starter?
I would strip that. So if you don't win one there, does Tennessee have another one?
Yeah.
Did Neyland?
Did
General Neyland win them one?
The one thing you never have to worry about is Alabama fans saying, "Yeah, you don't count the COVID championships."
No.
They're going to be like, "Yeah, we're going to go ahead and count that one." Yeah, so you'll never hear that from Alabama fans.
I am
no
going to count the COVID championships. Right. In some regard, I think it was more difficult.
Well, that's what I've always said. So the way we handle the COVID stuff on this show, as far as records go, is like I never hold it against a coach. Like, oh, he was 3-7. Yeah, it was COVID year. I'm not going to hold that against a coach. But I'm also not going to give less credit to teams that did it because, to your point, in some regards, it was more difficult. Like what Alabama did that year, they played a 10-game SEC schedule, an SEC championship, and Notre Dame and Ohio State. Find me a tougher schedule than that. And you had to maneuver games where you were missing key players, and in the Iron Bowl, your rivalry game, missing your head coach.
Yeah. And, just having that young of a kid having to deal with the anxiety that comes with what was going on with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And being isolated, not seeing their families.
No. And in a lot of regards, it was more difficult.
Yeah, to me, the most difficult championship that was won during COVID was Alabama's.
Just because of the schedule?
Yeah, because of the schedule.
I mean, nobody will ever play that schedule again.
Of course, in that schedule, there were no close games outside of the SEC championship.
They blew everybody out, ran them off the field. I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I was like, Jimbo Fisher picked the absolute worst time to have his best team at Texas A&M. Alabama was a monster, and it was a COVID year. Like any other year, Jimbo probably is okay with that team. Yeah, but he's probably in a 14 playoff. But that was just the worst time to have his best year. So anyway, all that to say the Celtics won. That was an awful series, though.
Yeah, it was. In Celtics, it was kind of, I don't want to say predictable going into the postseason, because once we got to the postseason, the T-Wolves were kind of that hot team coming out of the first couple of rounds until Dallas took care of them. And then coming into the finals, Celtics were kind of a healthy favorite, but you looked around and you were like, dude, Luka's playing his ass off. Kyrie's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder. And now the narrative is, well, Luka is a great player, but he's not a leader.
Yeah.
And
is that fair, you think? I mean, it's hard to know, right?
It's hard to know, but, you can kind of tell when there's a leader on a team. And, as good as he is, he's still only 25 years old. But, he's got some immature kind of, moments, I would say.
Yeah, but he likes to chirp at the crowd, doesn't he?
He likes to chirp at the officials, crowd, opposing players.
He's just an overall chirper?
I'm fine with that, but there are just some, there's some moments with Luka. But he's a fantastic player. But you do wonder what Dallas does in the offseason now, because you've got a really good roster there. They were defensively, they were really, really good in the regular season. And you just wonder if they bring in another veteran piece to try to put them over the top. But again, the West is so hard to navigate. I would be surprised. It's funny how we change narratives, in this industry. And, everybody was talking about, it was going to be Denver again. And then everybody jumped on Minnesota. And then when Dallas finally got there, they were like, dude, Luka's 25, best player in the NBA. He's going to win 2 or 3. And now people are saying, well, it's the West. It's a gauntlet. They probably don't get back, and I'm not sure if they do.
Yeah, I mean, the West is tougher, but it's hard to see the Celtics going anywhere in the East, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Cody over in the mybookie.ag chat room, he's lazy on defense.
Luka?
He is until he wants to play.
Yeah.
He played really good defense on Friday night, but, yeah, I would agree the majority of the time he is. I don't know, man. Luka's a fantastic player. I will tell you this. The one thing I can guarantee about Luka is he's going to be fat once he retires.
Yeah, he's got that chunky look already.
Anton Walker State then.
Oh, yeah. But do you see that? You see Cord every day with baby fat. I think Luka at 25 still got that baby fat, and I think once he shuts it down, if he's lazy on defense, he's going to be lazy in retirement with all that money.
Well, the money, that's the best shape he's going to be in his life.
That's right.
What it looks like. He's running every single night, and that's the best he looks.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, running up and down the floor every single night.
Every night.
I mean, I think your guy Stafford might have that issue too.
Yeah. Now, but he knows he embraced Fat Matt for a while.
Yeah.
And he's gotten a lot skinnier.
Yeah.
His wife might crack the whip, though.
She could. I don't know.
I mean, Kelly seems like she's kind of the alpha in that relationship. So I could see her be like, "You're only going to be able to eat this. You get one cheat day."
Yeah, that's the thing, though. When you're like a stud NFL player, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. You got to you got to really work hard for those 5 years out of the game, because you're about to be up on that stage in one of the biggest moments of your life. You want to look good for that.
Look,
you fall apart after that.
They commit so much time to their craft. All they need to do is just take an hour out of the day to do something physical, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, because what probably happens is you retire and you're like, boy, I've been working out every day for 25 years. I'm going to take some time off.
This is a good ongoing for the next 3 hours. You guys just chime in, but Landmine Believer might be onto it. Buster Douglas, the all-time got fat once retired athlete.
Uh-huh.
We know the once retired rapper, and we saw him last night, 50 Cent.
Buster Rhymes.
Yeah, those guys blew up once they shut it down. So I wonder, and somebody's saying Zion. I mean, Zion's already big now.
Yeah, he's trimmed down. Like, he lost 30 pounds, did he not?
Yeah.
But that's him trimmed down.
He's still, Eddie Lacy's a great one.
Yeah.
Mike Trout's got that husky build.
He does. I
mean, he's just got those big legs. He could squat a ton, big ass.
Big ass.
But there are a lot of athletes, man, when you shut it down. I mean, you think about some of these NBA guys that you can tell are big right now. Baby, Glenn Davis.
Big baby?
I haven't seen him in a while. But I mean,
I thought he didn't pass away. I always confuse him with Tractor Trailer.
Massive heart attack.
No, Tractor Trailer was the one that passed, right?
Yeah.
And he was big when he played. Like, there was just
Oliver Miller.
Yeah.
You just wonder, these guys are running 40 minutes a night.
I know.
So, what happens once you shut that down?
To Rockstar's point, I mean, Luka looks that way right now, running up and down the floor for 40 minutes, 50 minutes. Tell them about HydroLive, Lance. HydroLive bringing you part of the show today.
Yeah, look, everybody needs to stay hydrated. Our friends at HydroLive, they've got a couple of great locations here in Birmingham. The original in Homewood, one Highway 119 in Greystone, one in Tuscaloosa. IV therapy, B12 injections, cryotherapy, compression therapy, all under one roof. Boost your immune system with HydroLive therapy. IV therapy treatments are packed with nutrients to increase energy, reduce stress and anxiety, boost your immune system, and much more. For more information, you can always go online, hydrolivetherapy.com. Ask about memberships. You're going to recoup the membership in just one visit. You get a free IV bag every single month. Make sure you mention the next round, 20% off any of the services there at HydroLive. For more information, hydrolivetherapy.com.
So this happened last time Big Baby came up. He came up on the show not long ago. I don't know if you guys remember why I can't remember why Glenn Davis came up, but a lot of people sent me a story because, like, the day he came up, the story broke that he went to the clink for 40 months. And then 3-year supervised release, by the way. It is a scheme to defraud the healthcare benefits plan in the NBA. I don't know exactly what he was doing.
Say he probably burned some bridges with that one.
I would imagine so. He maintained his innocence, but unfortunately he has to pay $80,000 in restitution and spend some time in jail. A wide-ranging scheme to steal millions of dollars. He was part of that. He was a ringleader, they call him.
Yeah, Jared Lorenzen. Even when Lorenzen was playing, was it for the River Rats or River Monsters?
Oh, yeah. It was like
that one picture
team.
of the uniform. I don't want to put Scott on the spot, but yeah, it was one of the...
I think he kind of embraced it for the attention for that franchise because the jersey was up above his gut.
Yeah, but it was almost impossible. Like, he was bigger than most defensive tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, he was morbidly obese playing quarterback, which is impossible. Like, he was one of the great wonders of the world, really.
He really was when he was at Kentucky. Is the way he could move with his size.
Yeah, but even more so, I thought later in his career, he played with the Giants for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a terrific SEC quarterback.
Oh, I loved watching him.
Yeah.
And I loved the nicknames more than anything.
But I could not believe that he could play at the weight he played. It's one thing if you're a defensive tackle or, a guard and you're getting beat. There he is. Look at that.
I mean, that's a hefty fella.
I don't know what the BMI on that is. It ain't good.
No, it is not.
Unreadable.
I mean, it ultimately, sadly, put him in the ground.
It did.
I mean, I hate that. But
the hefty lefty, J-load.
the 22, too.
Just
to really emphasize it.
Yeah, I'm just going to wear a big number. I'm not going to wear a 4. I'm going to be 22.
I would have put a 1 on that if I was him. We're going to go in black uniforms, too.
Well, I tell you what, he was fun to watch at Kentucky, though.
He really was.
The old hefty lefty.
And he was on the wrong side of the Bluegrass Miracle.
That's right. He was the quarterback.
Yeah. Do you remember where you were?
I do. I was. Hang on now. Let me rewind.
I'll tell you as you're thinking about this. Jeff Clanton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in his wedding, and so we were all sitting in one of those waiting rooms or whatever you do before a wedding.
Okay.
And we had the smallest TV watching that game. But I'll never forget it. The ultimate jinx was that Gatorade with still a possession to go.
Yep.
And you got
Guy Morris had to go to midfield and shake Nick Saban's hand.
Oh, how embarrassing!
I want to say I can't remember who they were playing that day, but I want to say it was in the press box at Legion or at Bryant-Denny Stadium. That's my.
I remember.
Think I was.
I know the week before that because we were on his bachelor party in New Orleans. I know Alabama had played Tennessee the week before.
Yeah.
Because I remember people had to navigate where we were going to watch that game.
Yeah.
But I don't remember who Alabama was playing that week.
I don't, but they got LSU the next week, I think Bluegrass Miracle and then to Baton Rouge.
Probably because that was late October or first week in November.
But because I remember Alabama fans, I remember them calling our show that Monday. They had been in Baton Rouge, and I remember one guy, I will never remember his name, called in the show and said, guys, the only thing that's because Alabama, if you remember, that was the Franchione team that went down and beat LSU 31-0 coming off that.
Oh, yeah, I was at that. It was the coldest game I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Not the most miserable 2000 Iron Bowl. But the coldest game I've ever attended was Alabama-LSU, where, it was 31-0. And I loved LSU in that game.
The Tigers big. I'm going to confirm the dates.
That was back when we were booking, and I got a phone call, hey, we need to throw off on this game. And there's all the money's on Alabama.
Stubborn Lance.
I was like, no. Hey, we might have to shut the doors if we don't throw off.
No,
Let's
good.
let it roll.
33-30. LSU wins at Kentucky November 9th. Then November 16th, there was no bye week then. They host Alabama, and it's 31-0 Alabama. I mean, just a complete beatdown.
That was a shocker. But coming out of that game, I thought Alabama was playing as well as anybody in the country. And, they ultimately friended it up.
Yeah, they lost. They had a bye week and lost to Auburn. Their next game was the Iron Bowl, 17-7 loss. Yeah, so I was at that game. Or I think I was in Tuscaloosa that day watching that, and I just remember everybody standing there thinking, "Boy, Kentucky's about to beat Nick Saban and LSU." And then there's just the yell when nobody knows how to react when you see a play like that.
Yeah, wasn't that was that the year Ohio State beat Miami?
2002.
Yeah, it was.
It was a JP game. That's the thing I remember is I was watching the JP game. And I've just looked. Alabama was playing Mississippi State, so I'm trying to figure out why I was at that game. There must have been a reason I had to be there for something.
Free tickets.
No, I was in the press box. It wasn't free tickets. But.
I do believe that year Miami was by far the best team. Ohio State was one of those teams of destiny. Remember they beat Purdue on a 4th and 3 and had a lot of close calls with Craig Krenzel. I thought during the season Alabama coming off of LSU was the second best team behind Miami. Now that didn't play out, but I do believe at that moment they could have beaten Ohio State.
That
was a good Alabama team.
Yeah, what I was going to say was a caller I remember called in, and he said, "Guys, I was in Baton Rouge, and if they didn't break the tape of the Bluegrass Miracle, that's a miracle in and of itself." Because they played that video 15 times before the game started.
You know what's weird is you see Kick Six all of the time. I never see the Bluegrass Miracle.
Just occasionally you'll see it, and it's in that grainy Jefferson Pilot.
I guess because in LSU and in the history of their program, I don't know where it would rank.
Well, it's a crazy play, but you're like, yeah, we had to run that play to beat Kentucky on the JP game, so we're probably not going to celebrate it too much. We're LSU, and we had to run that play to beat Kentucky.
Yeah, I don't even know where LSU ended up. Those were good LSU teams, because remember 2001 is when Josh Reed went for like 4,000 receiving yards against Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
I do remember that game.
And then the next year, they get whipped by Alabama, but then the next year they win the national championship.
They ended up that year 8-5. That was one of Nick Saban's bad teams there.
Wow.
Because, the Bluegrass Miracle saved Saban from a disastrous finish that year. They had just lost, listen to this, 31-7 at Auburn. Auburn had beaten them 31-7 in Jordan-Hare Stadium. They get the Bluegrass Miracle, then Alabama beats them 31-0. The Bluegrass Miracle was bookended by 62-7 worth of losses to Alabama and Auburn. That was disastrous.
It's hard to believe, though, that Nick Saban ever had an 8-5 team that far into his tenure at LSU.
He did.
Because, Kirby Smart was 8-5 in that first year at Georgia, and they have never looked back.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right.
And you would have thought Nick Saban would have been in the same situation. I guess once he got to Alabama, he was a different coach.
A little. His time at LSU was good. He kind of woke LSU up. They won a national championship, obviously, but it was nothing compared. 8-4, 10-3, 8-5, 13-1, 9-3 before he took the Dolphins job. Finished top 10 twice. It was good. By LSU terms, by LSU terms now. By LSU terms now. And Nick Saban is one of the reasons these terms are the terms now. But by LSU terms now, you got a lot of fans chirping about that. If you gave Brian Kelly these 5 years at LSU, 8-4, 10-3, 8-5, 13-1 national champion, 9-3.
Well, you're going to be like that's a B plus.
Yeah,
and he's even got a national championship. He wouldn't if you had that national championship on the front side of that. He's probably close to getting fired.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
the fact that he was 1 year removed for the national championship. But you just look at Orgeron.
Oh, by the way, as you're pulling Orgeron, if Brian Kelly, for whatever reason, in a very, very difficult transitional year for the SEC, if they were to go 9-3 this year and miss the college football playoff, I think people are talking about him being on a hot seat next year, which is insane.
You look at Ed Orgeron, the greatest season in LSU history, then the COVID year, which again, I don't think anybody held that against Ed Orgeron that they were 5-5 in the COVID year, and then he gets fired the next year. It's 6. Now they were 6-6.
Well, I think there were some things, underlying things that kind of played into that.
There were. We found out later.
Yeah, if Orgeron was tight with the administration and the board, and there weren't certain things out there, I think Orgeron might have survived that. I also think there were some LSU fans that were a little. They embraced him that 1 year in 19. I think they were a little embarrassed. That would be like Roll Tide Willie taking over Alabama's program. That's
it's not that bad of an idea. He's popping right now.
I can't wait. Somebody sent me a video with him coming out. And I was
Saban kind of embraced the deal.
I was like, this has got to be AI.
No, Saban kind of embraced the deal.
I couldn't believe it. But
Roll Tide Willie's the Alabama coach would be phenomenal.
With Saban's talent would have gone 9-3 in those years, right? I don't think he would have had an Orgeron year.
Roll Tide Willie. All right. Hey, we've got a cool thing on the show today. Scott's going to show you. There are two ways you can do this. We're going to, at the end of the show, give away 2 tickets to the Rickwood Classic. You've got the Cardinals and the Giants Thursday playing at Rickwood Field in Birmingham, the Field of Dreams game, whatever you want to call it. You can either scan the QR code that Scott is about to show you, or you can text the word beer to 44834. 44834. Now, we encourage you in doing this to make a donation to Folds of Honor. Folds of Honor is a charity we embrace. Anheuser-Busch certainly embraces. They've given $28 million to Folds of Honor over the last 17 years. Folds of Honor is an organization that makes sure the children and spouses of our members of the military that have been killed in the line of duty or Purple Heart winners, those are Purple Heart recipients, those that are first responders, they get college scholarships from Folds of Honor. In fact, Little T sent the video out from Next Round Live if you want to go see it. We met a retired member of the military at our event Saturday whose son had received a Folds of Honor scholarship and his daughter was about to. It was really cool to see that.
It's incredible. Again, give me the number, and I know that you actually announced it when we were down there, that Budweiser has contributed to Folds of Honor.
$28 million over 17 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's all from Budweiser and Anheuser-Busch. So they're giving away 2 tickets. All you got to do is scan that code or text the word beer to 44834. and you'll be in the drawing. We're going to do it at the end of the show, so you'll know by the end of the show if you've got 2 tickets. You called it maybe the hottest ticket in Birmingham sports history. It's one of them.
Hey, look, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. I think get-ins are around $500 right now, and like premium tickets are over $1,000.
Yeah.
So it might not be the biggest one. I'm sure there was an Iron Bowl back in the day that maybe overtook that. But it's got to be close. And I'll tell you this, and not to be pessimistic, this is going to be the last time, I think our baseball guy back there, Scotty, would agree, that we will ever see a regular season Major League Baseball game played in the state of Alabama.
That's a bold statement, Scott. Would you agree with that?
I don't know. Rick Wood's awesome. They could bring it back again.
Yeah. I saw some drone shots this morning of Rick Wood. And the money they put into this for this game.
Was it before and after?
I just saw
you could tell the
now.
after, yeah.
So tomorrow night they've got the Biscuits and the Barons, and they're playing a classic there. And then Thursday will be Cardinals and Giants. But the renovations they've done to it,
yeah,
I'm like, damn, this is awesome. But boy, they threw a lot of money out there for a game.
Boy, they did. Major League Baseball certainly did that. They had to do it to update it just enough to have the facilities you need for 2 Major League teams to play. I mean, that was going to be baseline. I mean,
don't have the capacity. I think it's 8,100.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants and Cardinals have to have some sort of facilities. Anyway, you scan that code or text beer to 44384, and you got a chance to get in that drawing to get the tickets at the end of the show. We'll give away 2 at the end of the show today. All right, as we go to break, Lance, Dr. B helping you grow that hair back.
Yeah, Dr. B working on me and you. Very simple. We do that non-invasive treatment, 30 minutes, 3 times a week on the couch. So that is it. My hair is more than doubled in thickness. It's been over a couple of years since I went to see Dr. B. I think that's Brown in the chair. Yes.
Yeah.
Getting swabbed for COVID, it looks like.
Now
they're taking the DNA to see. I mean, that's how detailed they are on this. But look, if you're starting to thin out, be preemptive. If you know somebody that's thinning out, tell them. It's very simple. They can call 205-319-0316. Get that consultation today. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. Beckenstein for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today. Tell him the next round sent you. 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
Follow Jon Lunceford on Twitter at jlunce.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Our friends at Longest Furniture believe in getting more style for less. Longest offers a great selection of furniture for your living room, bedroom, dining room, home office, and entertainment room, helping you elevate your home design and decor. Longest offers everything from vibrant outdoor furniture to breezy home accents. Everything you need to create your own sunshine sanctuary. Right now, you can save up to 10% store-wide, receive $300 in Longest sleep credits with select mattress purchases, and access special financing on tons of hot buys. Take exit 280 off the I-65 Hallmark Farms exit today to see what Longest has to offer you.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 2200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you. 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
We continue on the next round. Don't forget the mybookie.ag chat room is up and kicking. If you are joining us on video, you can participate in that. We get asked that a lot. How do I get in that chat room you'll talk about? All I got to do is be on one of our video platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and you can jump right in there. And while you're there, please give us a thumbs up. Like us, share us. We appreciate you doing that. Make sure you're subscribed everywhere at Next Round Live. Everywhere at Next Round Live. Rusty asked, and there's a chance Skip Holtz is going to be in studio with us tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah. Coach is going to be back in town. You know, they did not stay
Think he'll
in
drink
Birmingham.
a cold Bud Light?
You can ask him. I don't know if Coach partakes.
I'll bet he does.
He might. He's a coach. A lot of coaches do.
Stressful job.
Rusty asked, we talked about it yesterday, would he come back to college if he got an offer from a big school?
Yeah, we will definitely ask that.
This sounds insane, but if he's making $1 million a year, which the Google search says he is, you still don't believe that?
Well, I heard yesterday, because
Okay.
I did reach out to a couple of different people.
That's right.
And one guy that I would trust on this said, I'm guessing, he said, I will find out for sure, but I'm guessing, what do you think the number was?
500 is what I thought it was.
250,000.
That's what he's guessing.
Yeah, I thought 300.
That's a big gap from $1 million.
It is. Again, I thought, if you're looking at the entirety of his 3 years, he's made $1 million. I could see that.
Yeah.
But there is zero chance they're paying him $1 million a year.
Keith says just ask him his salary. I'm not going to do that.
Keith, I'll say, look, all these salaries are public. People are speculating. I'm
Except
not going to do
yours.
it just for the simple fact, if I knew he was making $1 million, I would ask him. But if he's making $250,000, not going to ask him.
I don't know. I'm never comfortable having that conversation with people.
They also came back and said he's not making enough.
He's not making enough based on their accomplishment. I would 100% agree with that.
Well, if I'm Skip Holtz's agent, I'm going and I'm like, who's the highest paid coach in this league? And I don't know who that is, but whoever it is, my guy's making more.
Yeah.
My guy doesn't lose.
I would agree with you now, but then the other part of that is what's the return on that investment? If the UFL loses Skip Holtz, they put somebody else in the Stallions. How does it affect the league?
Okay, I'm not putting a bullet.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm not putting a bullet in Dilfer's head, but you guys just hear me out.
Okay,
if
listening.
Dilfer had a 2-10 this year, and Skip Holtz wanted that job, would that be a bad hire?
I think it would be a good hire, especially based on what he did at Louisiana Tech. I think you can make some.
He knows the territory.
There. Yeah.
He's already here.
Yeah.
Again, I'm pulling for Trent Dilfer. He's a regular guest on the show. I hope he does extremely well.
I got no problem with Trent.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, for whatever reason, if it didn't work, if Trent wanted a job somewhere else, let's say Trent goes 10-2.
Yeah, gets
Trent
a job.
takes another job. That's a better way to frame it.
Yeah, there you go. I think Skip is a very experienced college football coach. Would UAB fans get excited about it? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I think it's a known name. It's a guy that's won a lot in this city, but he's also done it in a completely different setup.
Yeah, but I would say this. Even when you hired Trent Dilfer, if it was Dilfer or Skip Holtz, I think it would have been about equivalent if I'm a UAB fan. Like, the potential of Dilfer and what he did at the high school ranks.
I tell you, though, right now the game has changed so much over the last 2 or 3 years. I would be extremely hesitant about hiring somebody that hasn't coached college football for a couple of years, just because of the way the NIL and the transfer portal operates.
And I think if I was Skip, and I'm sure he probably feels this way, I'm not sure, but I would lean that he does, I'd be a little hesitant about taking a job where I haven't been part of that landscape. I don't know what it looks like.
I think I would I think I would rather, if I knew that the league was healthy and I had some sort of guarantee. We've talked about this on the show before. One of the worst coaching moves in the history of football was Howard Schnellenberger. I don't know if people remember what Howard Schnellenberger did, but Howard Schnellenberger got Miami turned around and won a national championship there. That game against Nebraska that a lot of people remember where Nebraska, Tom Osborne decides to go for 2.
I agreed with the going for 2.
Yeah, it was a great game, one of the great games in college football history.
But didn't ball hit off Mike Rozier's helmet?
Yeah, they weren't a very good passing team. They were a triple option team, and they decided to throw down on the goal line. Osborne got second guess for that.
Got to throw the ball to Irvin Fryer.
Well, yeah, who was the number 1 overall pick, by the way, coming out of that team. But a lot of people are like, dude, you're a triple option team. I mean, you're got 3 yards to get, and you throw the football.
By the way,
you got a lot of questions.
Number 1 overall pick coming up on 4 downs.
Oh, really? Not Irving Fryer, but a different one. NBA, okay. Howard Schnellenberger, at that moment, took a USFL job, and the league folded before he ever coached a game. It was, I think, an expansion team that was coming to Miami or maybe Orlando or something like that, and he never got to coach a game.
Yeah.
And left the University of Miami to take a USFL job, and then got left out in the cold.
Yeah, which is really interesting. And I'm sure in retrospect, before he passed away, that was something he regretted forever.
He would have had to.
Why would you build something like that? You know that you can be at the top, the pinnacle of college football, winning a national championship, and go to the unknown.
Yeah, I'm going to try to find the job, Lance, because first national championship. He resigned to become part owner. Well, here's why. You're going to hear 3 words that are going to tell you there was a lot of money here.
Dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs.
Yeah, Schnellenberger resigned to become part owner, president, general manager, and head coach of the Spirit of Miami in the USFL. In August, the USFL announced it would shift to a fall schedule, and then they folded.
You know what is, ownership's great if it's successful, but if it folds, doesn't mean anything.
Nope. Man, I mean, can you imagine, though, right when Miami gets turned around and how good that program was? Howard Schnellenberger wasn't going to let that program fall off. He'd just gone 11-1 and won the national championship. That guy could have coached there, and he ended up going to Louisville and built Louisville into a decent program. I mean, they had that one Fiesta Bowl against Alabama, but other than that, they weren't very good.
You remember the quarterback?
Browning Nagel.
Yeah, played for the Jets.
The random stuff we remember. That could be a trivia question at Odie's tomorrow night. Do you think anybody answers that?
Or it could be a trivia question on the Meltdown tomorrow, because I got a reminder from Tim Melton that I am going to be participating tomorrow.
Oh, I look forward to who you playing against, do you know?
I think we're playing against Taylor and Reed, I think.
Taylor and Reed, and then
It's you and Rockstar?
Oh, I'm out. I'm already advanced to the
No,
finals.
it's me and Pavlik. This would be if we lose to Taylor and Reed, it would be a massive upset. And I know I've got the worst score ever because I didn't really know the strategy.
You got Cocky Lunceford tomorrow, too, you're competing against.
Oh, boy.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's Tim's brother-in-law is his partner.
Oh, so there's 3 teams.
Yeah.
The 2 advance or only 1?
Only 1.
Okay.
3 enter, 1 must leave.
That's right.
Okay.
Somebody leaves bleeding. But Odie's, if you ask who quarterbacked Louisville against Alabama in the 1991 Fiesta Bowl, I bet a lot of people don't answer that one correctly.
No, they probably won't.
I got it, Browning Nagel.
2 great locations of Odie's Tavern, the original in Crestline, where we will be tomorrow night with Odie's Team Trivia, the newest location in Edgewood, right there on the corner of Oxmoor and Broadway. Stop in, enjoy great food from Rodney Davis, burgers, wings, incredible sandwiches like the Diablo sandwich, ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Stop into one of those 2 locations today. Go see Will Haver and that great staff. It's Odie's Tavern.
Charles is right in the mybookie.ag chat room. You look back on it now, Howard Schnellenberger was at Louisville when Jimmy Johnson decided to go to the Cowboys. I wonder why they didn't revisit that.
Well, you wonder how that went down.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have torched the place. I mean, I don't know. That was a
they
long time ago.
They go to Dennis Erickson, who we talked about yesterday. Erickson kept it clipping.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about Gino Torretta. That was a Dennis Erickson team. And then Erickson took an NFL job, right?
Seattle,
yeah, that's right. And then they went to Butch Davis.
Butch Davis had some incredible teams that never won a national championship.
That's right.
He takes the Browns job, and then Larry Coker wins one and then almost wins another. And then, it falls apart, and nobody's been able to revive it since. Mark Richt had a minute in 2016 where they got up to number 2, and then he ended up losing. I think they were 10-3 that year. But this could be the year.
Could be the year. It's full circle because we're talking about Miami a little bit later on. But boy, those teams back in the day, I don't know that it mattered who you put in there with their talent, as long as they could keep that talent in there. I don't think it mattered who you put in there with that talent.
And I think for a moment, and not to take anything away from these coaches, it's almost like LSU. I mean, There was so much talent. They found a way. They had that pipeline, and as long as you kept bringing them off that pipeline, you were fine. I'll never forget, man, watching Miami games on a 2:30 Saturday afternoon. It was just so much fun seeing all the NFL players that were there.
Oh, yeah. They would come back on the sidelines?
Yeah. And you could tell that was just – and they all had an attitude. Everybody had a chip on their shoulder. Coaches, ex-players, players. And I've never seen that swagger again in college football to that level.
It was the only one that was close was USC, because USC felt like an NFL franchise playing college football. Not necessarily because they were better than everybody. They were good.
Yeah, and I would say Alabama.
But just the way they operated.
Alabama was kind of close.
Because
of the domination.
Yeah, because of how good they were. Yeah. But they didn't have the glitz and glamour that USC felt like they had, because USC was in L.A.
Well, I don't think Saban would have put up with that.
No, really. Probably not. Yeah. I mean, Pete Carroll kind of embraced it, didn't he? Yeah. But Miami was like that for a good part of the 80s and early 90s. It felt like a professional franchise.
I just remember watching a couple of games, one specifically in a Cotton Bowl against Texas, where they beat Texas. Oh. They beat their brains out.
Wasn't it like 48-3?
But they continued. I'm not positive, but I think at that point, and it might still hold up, they had more personal fouls committed in that game than any in the history of college football, and they were just purposely doing it up 30, 40 points.
Yeah, Lance, that was in the
and it was freezing cold that day. I remember Texas wearing their all whites.
Yeah, 46-3. I got it right here. I found it quicker than I thought I could. 46-3 is your final. I was going to see partly as a result of the game, the NCAA instituted a new rule stipulating excessive celebrations. The NCAA had to change the rules because of that game. Excessive celebration.
Well, I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, you think about
15 penalties, 202 yards, a single game record.
Okay, we won't even use Nick Saban. Kirby Smart. I mean, name another coach. If that team was doing that up by that amount of points, guys would be getting pulled off the field.
They would be. And Dennis Erickson just let it go. That's part of the 30-30 they did on the U. They highlight that game and how actually the players embraced the fact that they got 202 yards of penalties. They were like proud of it.
Yeah, I remember
the receiver, he scores the touchdown, runs to the tunnel, and he comes out firing the guys.
Yeah, I think that was wasn't it the kid that was on the broadcast, Lamar?
No, it was not Lamar Thomas.
Lamar Thomas.
No,
yeah.
I'll see if I can remember who it was. But he comes back down. He comes back down the tunnel, firing the guys at Texas.
So good.
They were such a brash team. They were so easy to hate.
They were, and I remember whenever they would play on a Saturday night, boy, if you were down money, whether you were booking or playing, everybody was on Miami.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because you just felt like if they wanted to cover, they would cover. Now it didn't always work out that way.
Yeah, Randall Hill,
pure talent. Oh yeah, Thrill Hill.
Yeah, Randall Thrill Hill. That was the guy. Caught the 48-yard touchdown pass. And he comes back down firing.
Does it have the amount, the penalty yardage?
15-202. Yeah. 15 penalties, which is the most of any game. Well, it's a school record, and 202 yards and penalties. Most of those were in sportsmanlike conducts. And that was before they even had a celebration penalty.
And they won the game, what 39, did you say?
46-3.
Yeah, 43. I mean, can you win a game now with 15 penalties and 202 penalty yards?
That'd be hard. And by the way, it was not a crap Texas team. That was a 10-1 Texas team that was ranked number 3 in the country. That was number 3 versus number 4, and Miami beat them 46-3 in the Cotton Bowl.
And what did Miami end up that year, number 2?
I would have to look.
I'm just saying they weren't really playing for anything.
No, they finished number 3. Yeah, I don't know who finished in front of them. But they finished 10-2 after that game. That's number 3 versus number 4, and it's a pistol whipping, 46-3.
Yeah, I will. Look, there's a lot of programs out there that aren't what they used to be, Nebraska being one of those. But you can make an argument Miami has fallen further than any program out there. I think people would probably say Nebraska. I don't even know if any of our listeners remember how good Nebraska was.
Boy, I tell you what. I mean, they were good at the same time, Miami and Nebraska, because they played that. We mentioned that classic Orange Bowl earlier.
Yeah, Miami was physical on defense. Offense was it was skill everywhere and speed.
Speed and skill,
and Nebraska would just beat you to death offensively.
Yeah. Charles is talking about he says they showed up in fatigues for the game. That was actually
that was a Fiesta Bowl in 86
against Penn State. Yeah. That was when the Fiesta Bowl bought the national championship game, Penn State, Miami, and they get off the plane in battle gear.
Yeah, I remember I was
lost the game, by the way,
against all my middle school friends back then because I loved the Lakers. They all loved the Celtics. I was Miami. They were Penn State.
Of course they were. Boring Penn State.
Shane Conlon, I think, picked off Testaverde.
He did,
I think
right
it was
at the very end.
14-10 final.
Something like that. Very low scoring. I think people thought Miami was going to be able to move it on them, and they were not.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah.
It was much like that Florida team in the Fiesta Bowl against Nebraska.
Oh, when basically Florida went no backs and Nebraska just kept lighting up the quarterback.
Yeah, Florida went right down, and they didn't get in, but they got 3.
Uh-huh.
And that was the first possession. I was like,
here we go.
Florida's offense going to take this thing over. And then Lawrence Phillips and Tommy Frazier, they battered them to death.
They did.
I don't even know what the rushing yards were. I want to say it was over 300, though.
Yeah. Was Trev Alberts the defender that had the big game? Was that after Trev Alberts? I remember there was one defender that was all over Werfel.
So that was 95. I think that was the year after Alberts.
Yeah.
I think Alberts was 94, I think.
A lot of college football on this show today. We're going to get to it all. Inverness Country Club, though, bringing you part of the show. Great place. If you're a young family looking for a place to join a golf course with great facilities, Inverness is that place.
Yeah, I reached out to our friend Aaron yesterday at Inverness Country Club just to check in, see how everybody's doing out there. It is a fantastic place. We've done events out there before. Look, if you're planning an event, you don't necessarily have to be a member in order to hold an event at Inverness. Inverness can hold anywhere from golf tournaments to corporate meetings to wedding receptions, anything in between. They've got memberships that fit everyone out there, from the social membership to the golf, childcare. Big plus if you're a member out there, you and your wife on a day of golf or tennis, guess what? You can drop the kid and go for a day for yourself on the court or course. Dinner with friends, knowing your kid is safe on site, massive plus. Maybe you work from home. What about working from the club while they watch your kid? That is a possibility as well. Whatever your interests are, you can find it at Inverness. Take a tour today of this unbelievable club. Call Aaron, 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608, or online, iccalabama.com.
When we come back, some new odds out. You can play these at mybookie.ag on the college basketball national championship. We'll discuss that next on the next round.
Follow the Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new Chicken Bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the Bayou, the amazing hand-patty burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Golf season is here, and if you're looking for a great golf course with affordable rates, you need to check out the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. Woodward Golf Club is a semi-private club with membership opportunities available, but is also open to the public. You can book tee times online at this hidden gem by going to golfwoodward.com. For only $195 per month, you can enjoy unlimited golf 7 days a week. Membership includes discounted cart fees, unlimited range balls, and the use of our practice facilities. For more information on memberships and the course, check us out online at golfwoodward.com.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the next round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation, 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the next round sent you, 969-8100 or Michelson. LaserVision.com.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Those basketball odds, which you might find interesting, coming up momentarily, further highlighting what kind of year might be in store for this state and the Southeastern Conference as a whole. We'll discuss that in a moment. A reminder, we've had some storms blow through periodically here in the spring and early summer, and they may have done damage to your roof. Well, our buddy Greg from Pell City will get up on that roof, take a look at it, and let you know what kind of damage you got. He may tell you, hey, your roof's fine, man. But he works with those insurance adjusters to make sure you get treated right and get the proper care for your roof. Look, if it's just time for a new roof, Greg does great work. It doesn't have to be storm damage. He does tremendous work. Storm Restoration Roofing is the name of his company. You can find him on Facebook at Greg from Pell City. And here is his cell number, 205-542-3531. That's 205-542-3531. Let Greg Nelson get on your roof and tell you what you need. 205-542-3531. Storm Restoration Roofing, our buddy Greg from Pell City. I don't know, Lance, if you think this is going to hold. I don't know normally in the betting markets how this works. But these are coming from Bet Online. The odds to win the national championship in basketball. And again, you can play these games at mybookie.ag or play these odds at mybookie.ag. Alabama is your current favorite, as Scott shows you there, at plus 800. So that's 8-1. Is that a normal offseason favorite number, 8-1?
Yeah, I mean, you've had some in the past that have probably been, some Kentuckys. Trying to think, maybe Villanova. Some that have been as low as 4 or 5-1. But 8-1 to me is not a lot of value. And, I had somebody call me the other day, and he's like, man, Alabama 8-1 to win a national championship. He was like, I think that's pretty good value. And I'm like, they've never done it. Like, they just got to the first Final Four.
That's right.
They might be the most talented team in college basketball going into the season, but there's so much that has to be done. And it's, when you're playing a gauntlet schedule like Alabama is, wait till they lose a couple of games. Those odds are going to stretch out to, at least 10-12-1.
Yeah, you get better value there than 8-1. UConn is 9-1. Danny Hurley back. And a lot of that team back for the national championship. Kansas 10-1. You're accustomed to seeing them there. Duke and Houston at 14-1. Duke on Alabama's schedule, Duke on Auburn's schedule. Houston on Alabama's schedule. Gonzaga at 18-1. North Carolina, who Alabama also plays, at 20-1. Baylor and Arkansas 25-1. Then you find Auburn in a group with Iowa State, at 28-1. Just to round it out on the graphic there, Kentucky and Arizona at 33-1, Tennessee and UCLA along with Purdue at 40-1. So a lot to point out there. Number one, in the SEC, Alabama is 8-1 to win the national championship. Auburn is Arkansas is 25-1. Auburn is 28-1. Kentucky is 33-1, and Tennessee is 40-1. So Vegas is telling you those are the teams from the SEC you really want to watch in terms of winning a national championship.
Well, you go back last year. I mean, you had UConn win it. They played Purdue. Those were probably 2 of the 3 shortest odds along with Kansas going into the season. But I don't think that's the norm. You go back 2 years ago. Where do you think you could have got San Diego State? Now, they didn't win it.
No, but they played for it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying before the season, they were probably 50-60-1.
Right.
Yeah, so, college basketball is so unpredictable. One injury here, one transfer there. It is kind of, I never thought we would be doing a show talking about Alabama has the shortest odds to win a national championship in college basketball.
I'm with you. Just seeing Alabama or Auburn in that line where Auburn currently is at 28-1, you'd have been like, holy crap, look at that. They're on the graphic. Yeah. I mean, just having Alabama or Auburn on the graphic was like, oh, this is going to be an amazing year.
I think it was a couple of weeks ago I brought up there was like a 12-year stretch in this state recently where only one tournament appearance.
Yeah, that's
between
right.
the two.
Between the two. Do you think when the season tips, will Alabama hold as the betting favorite to win the national championship? I mean, I know it's hard to
UConn's
predict.
interesting. I thought UConn would have dropped a little bit if Hurley would have taken the Lakers job, but because he comes back. But still, man, they're losing a lot. They lost a lot the year before. It didn't matter. I think Kansas will end up being your betting favorite.
Oh, really? So they're at 10-1. So you think they go off as the betting favorite?
I do. I think it'll be close. I think Alabama will be right there, but I would say Kansas is probably going to be your betting favorite when it all is all said and done.
In the mybookie.ag chat room, Smuff is paying respects to one of the long-running things on the show, Rockstar. I don't know how often we're going to play Alabama on the bubble again.
We can't. We always get there, man. Like they don't need to beat LSU. It'd be nice, but if they lose, they're not gonna. It's not gonna hurt them that
for
much.
those that forget, it was. I mean,
every single week.
It was every single week. It was during the Anthony Grant, Avery Johnson era that it seemed like Alabama was playing a conference game, and all the bubbleologists were like, "Yeah, it would help them if they win, but they're not out if they lose."
It was so.
It was every game.
The product was so boring. I would almost equate it to. I wouldn't. I can't.
You're going to do a football team?
I can't say Virginia basketball because Virginia basketball is way too good.
They won a national championship.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, even the style of basketball was bad. They'd win a game where you're like, okay, they're in. Then they'd lose the very next game.
Yeah.
Then they were back out.
Yeah.
But they were always 20, 21 wins, right there, kind of hanging around.
Almost Kentucky football.
Yeah. I mean, that's the equivalent of 7-5.
Almost Kentucky football. Like when Kentucky wins under Mark Stoops, it's never pretty.
No.
Like you don't ever watch a Kentucky win. You're like, man, did they just kind of yuck it up and they drag you into it.
Offensively, they suck.
They do. They have.
Yeah, I mean, Rusty's right. Iowa last year. Iowa's the Big Ten version of Kentucky. Kentucky makes it look a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, Kentucky at least moves the ball forward enough. I mean, Iowa. Those are bad. I guess Iowa football was Alabama basketball, but there again, Iowa football's played for the conference championship.
I mean, they were a goal line away from beating Michigan State and playing, and they would have gotten the beat down that Michigan State got against Alabama. But still, I mean, for them to be that close to playing in a college football playoff, that's pretty impressive based on the resources they've got.
So Alabama 8-1 to win the NCAA tournament. Those odds out at BetOnline. And you can play them
I'm not going to take a
MyBookie.ag.
ticket on that. Are you?
Oh, I wouldn't know. Basketball is so unpredictable. Like, how often does the favorite win it, you think, coming into the season?
We talk about it's one of the more difficult things to do. I heard our buddy Ian last night talking about the most difficult trophy to win in all of sports is the Stanley Cup, which I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that.
I guess. It seems like you have 8s beat 1s.
Yeah. I mean, you've got 8s that have actually won it.
Yeah.
So based on that, baseball can be really difficult.
I feel like that basketball trophy's hard, though.
It is. But, going into the tournament, it seemed like a third or more picked UConn to win it, and they did.
I think the hardest thing about baseball, like Major League Baseball, is it feels like there's always that team in August and September that really hits their stride. And you can be really good March through August, and a team just gets really, really hot, and you don't want to face them in the postseason.
Well, I don't think anybody really saw the Diamondbacks and Rangers playing for the World Series last year, at least during the season. Very good teams, especially the Diamondbacks, and the Rangers ended up winning that, their first championship. Baseball, I don't watch enough hockey, but just based on the fact that you've got so many 8s.
That's
not
true.
So many, but enough.
Clay Travis will join us next. Woodhouse Day Spa takes us to the top of the hour.
Look, this is a great, unique gift, the gift of luxury for that special person in your life. You can get it right there at the Woodhouse Day Spa, located at the Summit Shopping Centers, right off of Highway 280. Choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Order that special person gift online 24/7. Go to birmingham.woodhousespas.com. That's birmingham.woodhousespas.com. You can buy gift cards 24/7 online or stop by the Woodhouse Day Spa. Tell Stuart and the great folks the Next Round sent you.
Volfan says College World Series. A number one team hasn't won it in 25 years. I haven't kept up with that stat.
Well, no, a number one overall seed, the last one to do it was 1999, the Miami Hurricanes.
Mm-hmm. Wow, it's been that long. Yeah. Who's the number one overall seed this year?
That would be the Tennessee Volunteers.
That's right. I kind of like that. Tennessee, I got it right here. They are just waiting. They'll play Wednesday at 1 o'clock. They're either going to North Carolina or Florida State on ESPN.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be Tennessee's year.
I kind of do too. North Carolina, Florida State today at 1. That's an elimination game. Kentucky, Florida, the nightcap, also an elimination game at 6 on ESPN. The North Carolina, Florida State winner gets Tennessee tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The Florida, Kentucky winner gets Texas A&M tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Sounds very SEC heavy.
I'm not shocked.
You're going to have 3 SEC teams and an ACC team left in this thing. We talk with Clay next on the Next Round.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
This hour of the Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention the Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or Michelson. LaserVision.com.
Golf season is here, and if you're looking for a great golf course with affordable rates, you need to check out the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. Woodward Golf Club is a semi-private club with membership opportunities available, but is also open to the public. You can book tee times online at this hidden gem by going to golfwoodward.com. For only $195 per month, you can enjoy unlimited golf 7 days a week. Membership includes discounted cart fees, unlimited range balls, and the use of our practice facilities. For more information on memberships and the course, check us out online at golfwoodward.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
Clay Travis, Outkick founder, coming up in just a moment. A reminder at the end of today's show, during the final segment, our friends at Anheuser-Busch are going to give away 2 tickets to the big baseball game in Birmingham, which is sold out, by the way, as you might imagine. The MLB at Rickwood Field. It is the Cardinals and the Giants. You can get those 2 tickets a couple of ways. Scott is showing you a QR code on the screen right now. You scan that QR code, takes you right where you need to go, or just pull out your phone, text the word beer to 44834. That is the word beer to 44834. Just scan the QR code. While there, we would appreciate you making a donation to Folds of Honor, incredible organization that helps give scholarships to the spouses and children of those that have been killed in the line of duty, Purple Heart recipients, those that are disabled veterans, also first responders, and they make sure those families are taken care of. And you can do that by texting the word beer to 44834 or scan the QR code there. And we'll give those tickets away at the end of the show. Very valuable ticket. And it should be a fun night.
Hey, so our regular Tuesday guest, Clay Travis from Outkick and Fox,
we're having issues.
Uh-oh.
We tested this at 8:30 this morning and it worked. So me and him are texting. We're going to get him on. We just, for some reason, his phone does not accept our phone number.
Yeah, well, that's shocking. We go back to the radio days. How bad was his reception?
Well, it's bad, but we can at least get it.
Yeah, he said he got a lot of calls, and so he has some kind of thing that blocks calls. I said, well, just store us in your contacts. And so we're trying to resolve that.
That's crazy.
Okay, all right, just give us a thumbs up.
I was talking to somebody that was in Colorado yesterday.
Right.
And so they would call, and then I could talk to them, and I was like, I got to call you right back. And I'd call back, and it'd go straight to voicemail.
Right.
And then I sent text, and they were like, when I moved throughout the house, I could get your text. Like, they had dead spots throughout the house. It's just amazing. We're in 2024.
We're still struggling.
And it looks like you've got cell towers everywhere, doesn't it? They used to hide them with the bad-looking, it was like an artificial Christmas tree.
They would make it look like a tree, and I think it actually made it look worse.
Yeah, I do
to be
too.
honest with you.
Like,
you should have just done the whole cell tower.
They don't disguise them anymore, but they're all over the place. But I'm shocked in today that you actually had a cell signal back in the mid-'90s, but you still have a problem getting them now.
Yeah. Do you ever ride in a place, though, where you've had bad cell? This happened to me the other day, where I've got like no cell service before, and then all of a sudden I got like 5 bars. I'm like, well, they must have got a tower out there. I like that.
Yeah. He is up now from Fox and Outkick. Clay Travis now joins us. Clay, we were talking earlier. I know you don't care about this at all, but the Birmingham Stallions three-peated in the UFL, and we were talking about Skip Holtz. People were asking what his salary was. I guessed it was around $300,000. It was posted at $1 million. With all that said, who is the most underpaid player, coach, person, announcer in all of sports?
Oh, man. We talk about a lot about overpaid. We don't talk about underpaid. Probably Brock Purdy. Would be my answer. I mean, I think he makes less than $1 million a year under that rookie contract that he got. He's probably going to get $40 million plus if you look at what those other guys get. And the rookie contracts are low for everybody. But in the case of a guy who, wherever he was, Mr. Irrelevant, I think his 4-year contract is virtually, by pro athlete standards, non-existent. He's making less than your average starting quarterback in the SEC is making, which really kind of puts it into perspective, I think. So I would say probably in all of athletics, he's the most underpaid person right now relative to what their otherwise market value would be.
Did you ask sports media too?
Yeah.
Sports media? Oh, man. Well, I know what a lot of people make because I've got a sports media company. Who is the most underpaid right now?
I saw somebody say, this is a different discussion. It may go hand in hand. I saw somebody say that Charles Barkley is probably the most indispensable sports personality out there.
Yeah, I think he's up there. I was actually going to say underpaid is an interesting concept because I think Stephen A. makes around $12 million a year, and I think he probably wants to make $30 million in his new contract. So and I think he may well get it. So if you look at $18 million, sort of that delta between what he makes and what he could make, that would probably make him the most underpaid, right? Because there aren't very many people who make $5 million anywhere in sports media. So I would probably point to Stephen A. I also think Cowherd probably is underpaid. If you look at what he does in terms of the ratings that he produces for FS1, I'm going to be biased towards guys that produce a ton of content because, look, I think Charles Barkley is incredibly talented, but he doesn't actually work that many hours. Whereas you look at a guy like Stephen A. Smith or you look at a guy like Colin Cowherd, they're on the air for 15 hours, 20 hours a week. And that is really hard to do, week after week for years at a time. And then the other aspect of that is when those guys are out, and this is one way to kind of measure it, when those guys are out, the ratings drop, a decent amount, meaning lots of people turn it on and they're like, oh, Stephen A's on vacation, Cowherd's on vacation, I'll find something else to watch. So I would probably point to those two in sports media. Maybe the other one, Greg Olson, I don't know what Greg Olson's salary is, but if you look at what the Bradys, the Romos, the Chris Collinsworth of the world are making in those primetime broadcasts, I would argue with you that Greg Olson is as good or better than those guys, and I'm sure he's not making $17 or $18 million a year.
Well, he was just a placeholder for Tom Brady too.
Yeah.
I mean, that
he's made himself a lot of money.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless is one of these guys. If I went most overpaid, I don't understand how there's a market for Skip Bayless, but doesn't that dude make like $15 a year?
I don't know what his salary is now. What I would say is when he initially left ESPN and went to FS1, a lot of the audience followed him. And so I actually think it was justifiable because you not only look at his ratings, but you look at the shoulder programming, and people don't talk a lot about this. But, you know, for instance, using my radio universe as an example, you know, I helped substantially in the mornings Dan Patrick, right? Because Dan Patrick was more, you know, he has a lot of stations came on right after me when I did Sports Talk Radio, and I gave him a much better lead-in than had existed before. And Skip both raised the end of the show before him and the show after him in his prime. I think that has declined without Shannon Sharp, who I think you can argue over the course of that show became the more indispensable member of that duo. And that audience seems to have followed him to First Take would be kind of the way that I would look at the ratings. And Skip has not been able to maintain the ratings that they had before Shannon left.
You know, people don't like Stephen A. Smith, and I understand it. I think he can be a polarizing guy. The one thing I always say about him is I've talked to people that worked at ESPN that were like, number one, he's a nicer guy than you would imagine. Like when you see him on TV, he's screaming a lot. He seems, you know, like he always wants to argue about stuff, but he's a nice person. And the other thing I've always heard about him is anytime news breaks and a producer calls him, if he can possibly do it, he'll go on SportsCenter. And like he's their highest paid guy. I mean, he's a guy that could probably say, no, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pass. Call Tim Legler, or, you know, I'm going to pass. Call Sal Palantonio or whoever. I think that speaks a lot about a guy, though, that he's willing to do that, even though he's probably the highest paid employee ESPN has.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean by work ethic and the amount that you're producing on a day-to-day basis. I think, I mean, you guys know because you do daily shows. There is a grind that comes out of doing daily shows. And I think it's way tougher to do. I mean, I've been arguing this for a long time. I mean, the live, for instance, is way harder to do than a podcast, right? Like if you told me, hey, Clay, instead of doing 15 hours of live radio, we're going to pay you the same amount of money. We just need you to do, I don't know, 5 days a week, 1 hour podcast where it's recorded, not even live. You have a guest. I'd be like, are you kidding me? You know, that's so much easier. And interestingly, what we've seen is sometimes guys doing podcasts get paid more than guys doing live. I think just about everybody who does live could do a real high quality podcast. I think lots of people who do podcasts could not do live radio or live TV.
So we were talking about this Les Miles suit yesterday. I don't know how much you saw of this, but Les Miles suing LSU because of the vacated wins, kill his shot at going to the Hall of Fame. I said it yesterday. There's a lot of these coaches that shouldn't be in the College Hall of Fame. Les Miles, I never thought was a Hall of Fame coach. What did you think about the suit, and do you think Les Miles is a Hall of Fame coach?
Well, I think both he and Mike Leach are Hall of Fame coaches. I mean, if you win 2 national championships, to me, you're a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, it's hard to win 2 national championships. And, you know, well, did Les win?
No, he only won the one. He played for one more against Alabama.
They went 13-0 and lost to Alabama 21-0. That's right. I still think if you look at him in his era, what he did at Oklahoma State, what he did at LSU, I mean, I think he's a Hall of Fame coach. You know, the standard, and I think, by the way, Mike Leach is too, even though the standard they put in place is 60% wins, I think, to be eligible. And what is it? Mike Leach is at like 59.6.
Yeah, you got to round that up, right?
Yeah, I think Mike Leach should be in. I also think that that Les Miles should be in, and I think for purposes of analyzing that, I've always thought vacated wins, like all that's kind of garbage to me, especially in this day and age now where you can basically pay anybody for anything. I mean, all of those punishments look so antiquated. I mean, I think I've talked about this with you guys before. How crazy. I thought the Bruce Pearl punishment was crazy at the time that it happened. how crazy does it look that Bruce Pearl was basically suspended for 4 years when you look at what's going on now, right? I mean, the idea that, you have a junior over to your house for a barbecue and that's considered to be a major violation, and then you say, hey, I didn't do it. Anyway, it's just I think basically the days of the NCAA levying punishments are almost gone forever. The only thing I would focus on at this point is there are some guys I think that truly don't belong on college campuses because they don't put in the effort academically, and I still think there should be some value there because most guys are not going to have a very long pro football career and certainly basketball career either. So you want to have something to fall back on, but the academic side has never really been a focus for anybody. So the idea that you're going to get, $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000. I'm a capitalist. I've always thought that was kind of crazy.
We brought up Clay Travis is with us, founder of Outkick, at Clay Travis on Twitter. We brought up a scenario yesterday because Brad Crawford wrote about it at 24/7 Sports. And Brad all he was doing was just projecting what he thinks SEC records will be. It's just his opinion, obviously. But he ended up with Texas at 11-1. And I think there were 6 10-2 teams, 5 or 6 10-2 teams.
Yep.
Yeah, Alabama and Tennessee, for purposes of this conversation, in that group. And we brought up the fact, Clay, that one of those 10-2 teams would be in Atlanta and potentially lose to Texas. And we were discussing what happens there because you get your third loss right before the selections are made. But I maintain to Lance that the Big Ten and the SEC, they really can't set the precedent of allowing a team that played for the conference championship to not make the college football playoff. That would be a weird scenario.
Yeah, look, I may be in the minority on this, but I think the idea of conference championship games need to go away. Maybe they made sense in a 2-team, championship scenario, the BCS, and a 4-team, but in a 12-team playoff. I think if you ask most SEC fans, hey, would you rather your team make the SEC championship or get an extra week of rest to be able to prepare for the playoff? I think a lot of them would say an extra week of rest. Now, I know you get a bye if you win, but I would rather have a 16-team playoff that has no conference championship game. And look, if 4 teams finish 10-2, just give a co-championship. I don't see how that is a major negative. I just think you're going to end up in scenarios where you have immediate rematches, where you have situations where the teams are kind of angling for where they end up. And I would just say, I do think the NFL is a good argument. Most of the time, you can't even name who wins an NFL division, right? At the end of the day, you don't care at all. And I think that's where we're headed. So in my personal world, I would say let's just go straight to 16. Let's do away with all of the conference title games, and let's start the playoff that weekend.
So back to Tennessee. 2 years ago, they would have been in a 12-team playoff, although they lost to South Carolina. Still would have gotten in. Last year, 9 wins. This year, it seems like Tennessee's building a lot of steam as far as people, including Brad, saying this could be a 10-win season. 10 wins gets them in the college football playoff. Is anything less than a berth in the 12-team playoff? Is that a disappointment for Tennessee fans?
I think it depends on how Nico plays, right? He's going to be a true sophomore. If they go 9-3 and Nico plays lights out and he's coming back next year and they have a top 5 recruiting class, which I think they're going to have, I think people will be fine with that. I think 8-4 would be disappointing. I think 10-2 would be great. What's the over/under? I think the over/under is like 9.5, if I'm not mistaken. And you look at some of those games, just off the top of my head, Tennessee has NC State, who's not going to be awful in a neutral site game, I believe, in Charlotte. They've got a road game at Oklahoma that is basically a toss-up game, in my opinion. Then you get Alabama and Florida, both in Knoxville. You have to go to Georgia, which is probably going to be a loss, right? So I think there are a lot of, what I would say are kind of 50-50 games for Tennessee this year. I would say probably a loss to Georgia. I think Bama's 50-50. I think that Oklahoma's 50-50. And then, you'd like to think that you're going to handle the Floridas of the world and the at Arkansas of the world without too much difficulty. And the Kentuckys, there'll be a lot of teams out there that are angling for a shot. But I think 9-3 or 10-2 is what Tennessee will end up with. But I think there's a big difference between 9-3 and you lose on a field goal to Oklahoma, Bama, lose by 10 to Georgia, something like that, where you look at it and say, hey, we're one play away from being 11-1 or 2 plays away from being 11-1, and a situation where you go 8-4 and get blown out by most of the teams that you care about beating.
All right, he is Clay Travis, founder of Outkick, at Clay Travis on Twitter, on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Thank you for the time, Clay. Have a great week.
Hey, y'all too. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Take care. Clay with us, as I mentioned, on that JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur, and always online at JohnstonRVCenter.com. They've repriced both those lots I mentioned, and they're so confident in their pricing that they will beat any price nationwide. That's their guarantee. You bring them the price on a comparable RV, and they will beat it. Members of the military, both active duty and retired, they appreciate your service so much in a very small way of saying thank you. They give you a great discount. Just find out more at Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Always online, JohnstonRVCenter.com. It was Bob Costas that said Charles Barkley is the most indispensable media figure in the country.
Did he say this after Barkley announced he's doing one more year?
Well, I don't know when it came. Perhaps it was in the course of that discussion. I will remind everyone, Charles, I think on this show, just me, you, Jim, Rockstar, this gang together, has announced his retirement at least 3 times.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he always said, look, 60 is the cutoff.
Oh, he said 52.
Yeah, no, it's always been a moving number. What is he
the
now?
governor, too.
Yeah, what is he now? He's 60, what?
He's 61?
Yeah, 60 was the cutoff, and he's 61. He says he's going to do one more year. It doesn't look like TNT.
Well, I mean, look, when you start to, and I do remember when TNT flew out to see him in Phoenix, and he was completely convinced he was retired.
Yeah, he told us this story off the air.
And he said they brought, tequila, cigars, and they sat around, and then they pulled out this check after they got him a little drunk.
And it was like the golf tournament check.
Yeah, it was one of the golf tournament checks, which, by the way, where were we? Oh, this past Saturday.
Oh, I know.
Check got lost in the mail.
Yeah.
It sounds like an excuse, but legitimately the big paper check they were going to present got lost in the mail.
Yeah, there was going to be a presentation of Folds of Honor by Anheuser-Busch, and we were like, and Lance and I were the MCs of the event, Rockstar.
How do you mail something like that?
I don't know. That was what was being discussed at the time, yeah.
But they did bring in the check, and when they pulled it out in his backyard or sitting around his pool, and I'm sure a really awesome area, he said it was too much money. It's like, okay, I'm back in.
It's like, I'm ready to retire, but I ain't ready to retire with that money on the table.
So, he announced the retirement.
Yep.
But, who knows? I mean, if somebody comes with a big enough offer.
I just think probably for Charles, I don't want to put words in his mouth, the thought of having to recreate that on another network. I think he probably just loves Kenny, Ernie, and Shaq so much that I don't think he thinks you could recreate that anymore. And I think he's probably right about that.
Well, and he's able to just watch some hoops go in. He can be himself. I don't think he has to do a ton of prep. That for him, that's his lane. And he's living it right now. But the only thing that worries me about Chuck is I just don't know what he's going to do. Chuck, believe it or not, he's not one of these isolated guys. He likes being around people.
He does, yeah.
And he likes having a purpose. And I think, he embraces being a celebrity. And so I think there is something about the spotlight to Chuck. I'm sure he'll find something to do. He'll find another lane.
And he's playing the best golf he's played in a long time. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that, I guess all the time if you really love it.
I'd like to try.
I don't play golf, but I play pool golf every now and then.
Yeah.
And I don't play that as much as I used to. By the way, I hit number 18 finally on Father's Day.
Oh, we got a hole in one?
Remember, 18 is the one shot that has never been made.
Right, so you made a hole in one.
It's the one from up top behind the bushes that goes over, and it has to be the absolute perfect angle. But
you finally got it. Yeah. On Father's Day of all days.
Yeah.
Right?
And we've offered a $500 cash prize to anybody that can hit it because it's an impossible shot.
Yeah. You don't pay yourself the $500.
No, but that's off the table now. So now I know
it's over.
Well, now it's not an impossible shot anymore.
That is true. Volfan in the mybookie.ag chat room says, I think he'll miss doing the NCAA tournament most of all. He seems to love that more than the NBA.
He might still do that, though.
I don't know. I mean, I do know when the first year they did that, I remember him coming on the show, and he's like, hey, it's way more of a workload than I thought.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm having to watch all the teams I think can go deep in this tournament.
Well, that's the difference. You're talking about 30 teams in the NBA that he sees all the time, and he knows all these players for years.
Yep.
And you're talking about diving in just for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks.
But you got to know 60. Yeah. You don't really have to know all 68. But
I wouldn't.
There's a good 30, 40 you got to really know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised though, as much work as it might be for him, that if he might still do that, it's kind of a hobby.
Yeah.
Like, they probably give him a couple of $1 million to do that.
Why not? Just show up in March, right?
Yeah.
As we go to break, a reminder of my guy, Brad Bell, A-Plus Tile Home Remodeling. If you're tired of that old outdated bath or shower, is he at your house for the kitchen?
He's at my house for the kitchen, yes.
Yep.
They are. They will be finished, I think, Thursday.
All right, so this is what he specializes in: master bath, kitchen, master bedroom, closets. And the good news is Scott shows you some before and after from my house and Lance's house, is you're going to enjoy those rooms a lot when you have them. But when you go to sell your house, you're going to get your money back there if you invest there. So call Brad, 205-422-1758. That is 205-422-1758 for A-Plus Tile Home Remodeling. Let him remodel that home. My wife scoured the internet when it came time to do the bathroom. Brad's the best one. She found him. I'm so glad she did. We loved his work. 205-422-1758. We're going to be able to, we need to do a live show from your kitchen or something like that.
Well, I need to do the before and afters, but I'll say this, like, I didn't necessarily have the money that I wanted to put into the kitchen, but I got some money out of savings to put into the kitchen because my house is 17 years old.
That's right. Got to update it.
Got to update it.
Yep.
So I updated the bathroom last year, updating the kitchen now. But it's all about parking money into your house. And as you said, you get the enjoyment while you're there.
You get the enjoyment there, and you get it back when you sell it. 205-422-1758. That's Brad Bell, A-Plus Tile Home Remodeling.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Let's face it, a home is one of the most powerful assets you can have, and our friends at Mortgage Right want to help you build wealth through home ownership. Mortgage Right is all about providing competitive rates, a variety of loan products, and a multitude of resources for a seamless home buying experience. They treat their borrowers like family and are always looking to bring more happy homeowners under their roof. See more by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR today and start living. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, equal housing lender.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you: Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
The wait is over. Tonali has arrived. Beautifully distinctive Italian styling and performance. Come test drive the all-new 2024 Alfa Romeo Tonali plug-in hybrid at Alfa Romeo of Birmingham. The all-new Tonali offers best-in-class horsepower and torque, fastest 0 to 60 times in its class, plus best-in-class range with full electric charge. And best of all, qualified Tonali leasees are eligible for up to $7,500 EV tax credit factored into your lease. Hurry down to Alfa Romeo of Birmingham and experience the all-new Tonali. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Every day, someone is ridiculed and mocked for the clothing they chose to wear. It's a harsh reality we all must face. But you have the chance to change all of that with one visit to nextround.store. For just a few minutes of browsing, you will observe so many clothing options, from hats to hoodies to t-shirts. Please, for yourself or someone you love, go to nextround.store and embrace the warmth of true attire.
Our friends at Longest Furniture believe in getting more style for less. Longest offers a great selection of furniture for your living room, bedroom, dining room, home office, and entertainment room, helping you elevate your home design and decor. Longest offers everything from vibrant outdoor furniture to breezy home accents. Everything you need to create your own sunshine sanctuary. Right now, you can save up to 10% store-wide, receive $300 in Longest sleep credits with select mattress purchases, and access special financing on tons of hot buys. Take exit 280 off the I-65 Hallmark Farms exit today to see what Longest has to offer you.
Will in the mybookie.ag chat room says he can see Charles working like Golf Channel or doing some golf stuff. I don't know. Maybe so. I mean, I think he would, like, NBC doesn't really have an analyst right now.
Yeah.
Once they lost Paul Azinger.
Yeah, I thought Smiley did a good job. I didn't necessarily love NBC's coverage.
It's a lot of people. It's like,
see, the problem with golf is they don't really want an entertaining angle to it. I know it's your sport, but it's still uppity. And
it is. No, I embrace. I don't embrace that, but I accept that it is uppity. A lot of people take themselves seriously.
Yeah, when you've got a match play between Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, then you can understand why you need that comedic element.
Right.
But I think Barkley on regular golf, I just don't think it would fly. I think he can basically do anything he wants, but I just don't think it fits with golf.
But to be fair in that, I know you call golf uppity, and it does have a reputation of that. If you were watching Rams 49ers it's 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and it's a tie game and Greg Olson's just making jokes, you would get pissed at that.
Well, I've always said like the Manning broadcast. I enjoy the Manning broadcast most of the time, but I don't want to watch the Manning broadcast when it's my team.
No, I'm with you 100% on that. Like some Monday nights, I'll flip over there and just watch it.
Oh, so like I would enjoy Charles on golf because it really I only watch the majors anyway.
That's right, yeah.
And so, like, even with all the drama that we had this past week with the U.S. Open between Rory and Bryson, I mean, I would have been all about, Chuck going, oh, my God, what a terrible, terrible meltdown.
He could do it.
Rory just cost me $2 million on that part.
I know. That's what you get for Charles. Hey, listen, just the other day I was leaving my street, and one of my neighbors had the air conditioner trucks outside their house. You know what that means, right?
No, guess what? I got a call this morning. AC is out.
At your house?
Not at mine. I know that's coming, though. That is, trust me, the next thing that will come in my life. But I had somebody close to me reach out, and they were like, AC's out. Can you call your friends at Hempill? So I called this morning. Adam, Chad, Andrew. Talked to Andrew this morning. They've got somebody on site already. Make the phone call today. Look, unfortunately, these are things that come up. We were talking about when your home age is out. The one I was talking to this morning, they've had the same AC for 26 years. I will take 26 years on any unit. Would you?
No doubt. Yeah. You get that. You
26 years. But look, these things happen. You got to update them. But the best in the business, our friends at Hempill Services, the ones that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. I have never had. I'll tell you what, a lot of people don't like to give credit when something goes good. It's more people are going to complain when it goes wrong. But I have people reach out to me, man, Hempill was unbelievable. So try them out if you're in this situation. They are the best. 205-229-2090 or hempillservices.com.
I did not know. Well, by the way, last night I texted you about this. We were texting about something else, but my washing machine quit working. My wife let me know. And so she got a repair guy just to come over and look at it, and there was something about the electrical board. He stands there and Googles it. He goes, you're looking at probably $250 for the piece. He goes, I would at least allow $250 for the installation and labor unless you do it yourself.
You get a new one for $850, $1,000.
I mean, that's what I told my wife. I was like, just go ahead and start shopping.
Yeah, the problem is,
first of all, you got to wait on the piece to get there.
I got a new dryer last summer, and it is a piece of shit. I mean, unfortunately, most of whether it's a refrigerator, a washer, or dryer, they just don't make them like they used to. And you talk to a lot of these repair companies, they're like, they've made them where you only get about 5 years out of them.
Yeah, that's the way he told me. He goes, he looked and he goes,
why would an appliance only give you 5 years?
Because you go buy a new one. But I mean, you would think
like the iPhone got to update.
Yeah. So he told me, he was like, he looked at the year on it. He's like, buddy, you've gotten 6 years out of this. That's pretty good this day and age. I was like, 6 years for a washing machine? He goes, yeah. How often do y'all use it? I was like, a lot. We go through a lot of laundry. As you guys know, I'm a one towel per shower guy, or one shower per towel guy.
Boy, if you ever get a pool.
So we do a lot of towels.
First world problem, but if you ever get a pool with your kids and their friends coming over, you'll be washing nonstop.
Yeah. So anyway.
But I just don't understand that about the appliances. I mean, look, I get that this is kind of the cycle of consumers and products and everybody making their money. But what happened to the good old days when you could say,
good old days.
15, 20 years you're getting out of this. I just replaced a refrigerator downstairs.
I did too. Yeah. I did too.
And I use it, but I don't use it. And I've had it for 10 years. 10 years isn't a great run.
And you was going bad. I grabbed a Diet Coke out of it, and I was like, it's not as cold as I want it to be. Like, I keep that refrigerator because it's down by where I watch the games, right? The downstairs fridge. And I keep that thing dialed down. That's probably why it died. But I dial it down so that I got it set on the temperature so that when you crack open the Coke, there's a little bit of ice in there. When you crack open the Diet Coke, That's probably why I had to replace it.
I've been in my current place 12 years. This is going to bore people, but I've replaced 2 refrigerators, washer and dryer, dishwasher, and an AC unit.
Yeah.
I got you beat.
Yeah, Rockstar's done.
You've only been there like 2 years.
My 2022 has everybody's ass beat.
You had like asbestos roofs.
Yeah, everything.
A whole new AC, like a whole new duct work. We had a roof. We had a washer and dryer. We had a water heater replacement. Had to have insulation in the attic once the asbestos was removed.
You got a cat?
Yeah, ton of backyard work.
I got a kid. Vec text me and he said, "Hey, listening to you guys while I was declawing a dog. If Rockstar wants his cat declawed, I can do it." So I said, "Rocky, we can get the cat declawed." And he was like, "Just ask him if he'll take the cat." And so I sent him a text. I was like, "Rocky said he will give you the cat," and his response was, "Dude, you couldn't pay me enough."
He's a Russian blue. Those are very beautiful cats.
Oh,
and he's fat as hell.
We're about to do 4 downs. Real quick, though, I want to give credit where credit is due here, so let me see who sent the tweet. From Michael Katz. Michael Katz covers USC football, and he is reporting from the USC side that Ole Miss home and home against USC has been canceled. I'd forgotten Ole Miss scheduled a home and home with USC.
Yeah, I had too.
Lane Kiffin returning back to the Coliseum. It was supposed to have started next year at USC, and then the return trip, USC coming to Oxford, would have been in 2026. Now, I don't know the way Keith Carter is the one that has confirmed this to him, the Ole Miss athletics director, which makes it sound like Ole Miss did the canceling. I don't know. You know, a September 30th, or in this case, an August 30th kick, I guess I should say, next year would not conflict with an SEC schedule, you wouldn't think. And the other one is September 19th. So I can't think it's an expanded SEC schedule. I don't know if it's the Big Ten schedule that is forcing USC to do this. I don't know why else you would cancel this so close to the time you're playing the game. It doesn't make any sense. But I'll tell you what it does for Ole Miss. It leaves them next year playing the Citadel, Wake, and Tulane out of conference.
Oh, yuck.
They're going to have to replace USC, and you won't get a good game because these schedules are set so far in advance. But listen to 2026. It's even worse. Charlotte, Georgia State, and Eastern Kentucky out of conference.
See, and that goes the opposite direction of what we discussed yesterday. Like, you know, if you're getting in from the SEC at 9-3, you've got to schedule more difficult out of conference games.
Yeah. Ole Miss at Charlotte, by the way, in 2026. That is an out of conference road game for the Rebs. At Charlotte, Georgia State, and Eastern Kentucky is their 2026 out of conference. And this year's not great. Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake, and Georgia Southern.
Yeah. Keith, didn't USC try and cancel the LSU game? They did. Chris, USC really doesn't want SEC games. I don't think they do right now. You know, we remember back in the day when USC did play SEC games against Auburn and Arkansas.
I do remember those.
Yeah. SC is not what they were.
Nope.
You know, we talk about some of these programs. I think it's an interesting year for USC. I really do. Making that transition to the Big Ten. I mean, their speed should win them a lot of games, but again, defensively, you know, Deontay and Lynn, I mean, how good is this defense going to be? How much improved can it be?
All right, Slice brings us 4 downs every day. 5 great Birmingham locations of Slice, slicebirmingham.com.
Yeah, make sure you stop and see the Bajaya Brothers. Local pizza, local ingredients. It is Slice.
First down.
Who wins a playoff game first, Mario Cristobal or Mike Norvell?
You know, this is so interesting with the way the playoffs work is if they win their conference game, or if they win their conference, they're automatically in, but they're also a 4 seed, which means you get a bye.
But then you play a really difficult team in the second round.
Yeah, you don't get the chance to maybe catch that 12 seed or catch that group of 5 team.
Yeah, I don't know if the ACC is going to be in a position to get a second
and
team.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
If you don't win your conference, you probably don't get in the playoffs. So it's kind of a catch-22 for them. I will go Norvell. I think Norvell is the better Saturday coach. I think Cristobal's, I've always said he's really good Sunday through Friday. I think Norvell's the better Saturday coach. And I think he recruits well enough that they'll win.
Yeah, it's almost like Cristobal has got to check his ego, and he's got to get like a game manager in there and somebody in his ear that just tells him, hey, look, you got to take a knee.
Yeah, I agree, yes.
I mean, simple things.
Yeah.
I am actually going to lead Miami. I think Miami could actually do it this year.
Win a playoff game?
I think they could. Now that's bold considering they've never won an ACC championship, right?
Absolutely right. They couldn't beat Georgia Tech last year when all they got to do is take the knee. To your point, but okay.
Second down.
More wins in the regular season. Keyword here: the Hurricanes or your Dolphins?
I think Miami. I mean, Miami was an 11-win team last year. And I think they're going to be better this year. I think they could be 11 or a 12-win team. I don't think Miami's going to go undefeated Hurricanes. So I'll take the Miami Dolphins in this one.
But, Miami could be favored up to 11 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be tight. I think it's 10-10.
Oh, you think Miami takes a step back then?
I mean, it's still in the postseason.
It is in the postseason, but I want to win the division.
I think the AFC East is going to be much like the SEC this year.
It's going to be tough.
I think you're going to have 3 teams that are going to be right around 10-7.
Yeah.
And the Jets, I mean, again, the thing about the NFL, more so than college football, it depends on the quarterback health.
Well, just last year you had Miami and Buffalo both at 11-6, and the Jets without Aaron Rodgers were 7-10. So you got to think,
easy 10-7 flip around.
Easy. I mean, you could have easily had 3 teams that were right there at 11 or 10 or 11 wins. I don't think New England's going to be much better this year. I'll go Dolphins in this.
I'm going to lean Hurricanes. I don't know why. Wait till I stock in them.
Third down.
Blake Shelton is 48 today. Better career, Blake Shelton or Blake Griffin? Now, just to remind you, Blake Griffin was the National Player of the Year in college basketball coming out of Oklahoma. Was the number 1 overall pick.
Great roster.
He was a great roaster.
No, one of the funniest jokes I've ever heard. Maybe the funniest I've ever heard at a roast.
It's the best, and how it was delivered and everything.
Yeah.
6-time NBA All-Star. I would think the money's close.
I can't name one Blake Shelton song.
I couldn't either. I know he's married to Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
I know he does the voice.
Yep. Yeah.
He's got a bad barbed wire tattoo. That's all I know about him.
Is there a good one?
He's a big dude. He likes to drink.
Yeah. I mean, but very, very successful in the country music scene.
No doubt.
I mean, to be a country music artist that gets on a show like that, I mean,
both are worth $100 million plus, though.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of his music. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a big Blake Shelton music fan.
I'm going to say Blake Griffin because he's shut it down. He does nothing now. He lays out by the pool with all his money.
That's a pretty good
crazy?
win.
Didn't he have a twin brother or a younger?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's that guy?
I don't know. I hope Blake's taking care of him a little bit.
Yeah, you're the one that's no good at basketball. I will go Blake Shelton, but I'm not really confident in that answer.
Fourth down.
Miranda Lambert and Gwen Stefani, not a bad. I don't know who Blake Griffin.
Yeah,
I know
but
he was.
He had Miranda Lambert in her early days when she was very raw.
Well, yeah, she tried to. I don't know how to word this. I think she tried to make him regret.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, to regret the Gwen Stefani choice.
Yeah, I think
Griffin dated Kendall Jenner.
Okay. I knew that one. I knew it was one of the ones.
Bryn Cameron, Madison Beer, and Francesca Aiello.
I'm sure they're all great.
Oh, yeah. You know they are.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul McCartney, 82 years old today. This is a heavy hitter right here. Paul McCartney or Michael Jordan?
Ooh. Wow. Was McCartney considered the best Beatle or Lennon?
I think he was.
McCartney and Lennon were the head songwriters most of the time.
Yeah. I think they got a little sideways.
They did. Well, they all did. It's just
so George and Ringo were
George
just
was
alone.
Great. Ringo was the one.
He was alone for the ride.
Yeah, George was incredible too. But it's just like it's hard to be a songwriter when you got 2 incredible songwriters in front of you. Like, okay, they're gonna have first dibs. It's like being Dave Grohl's drummer. Okay, one of the best drummers, and I'm drumming for him, so he's gonna be looking at me.
What songs did George or Ringo sing lead on?
Octopus's Garden for Ringo. George did Something in the Way She Moves. Something.
Yeah.
He did a bunch of songs, but
I gotta
McCartney and Lennon.
Well, McCartney, I'll say this, with Wings, much better than Jordan with the Wizards.
Dude, yeah.
I would agree with that.
Is that true?
Yeah, he's also like, what? He's 82 now, and he's still doing original key of his songs, which singing it, maybe I'm amazed at that key at 82 years old. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I saw him. Now, this has been forever ago. It's when the Eagles played the Patriots in the Super Bowl. He did halftime in Jacksonville, and he was incredible.
He called it Super Bowl. Hello, Super Bowl. How is everybody Super Bowl?
I think it's tough, man.
Yeah, it is tough. The only thing I would say about Jordan, he was clearly, that's what I was asking Rockstar, Jordan was clearly the best on his teams. Clearly, but no argument.
As much hype as Jordan had during those days, there was more hype for the Beatles during their heyday.
Oh, I would agree. I mean, music is more universally,
Can you imagine
popular than basketball.
With a Beatles concert, they couldn't do concerts because the girls were so loud they couldn't hear each other. Can you imagine Michael Jordan like, we can't play the game because the fans are just too loud. I can't do it. We cannot focus.
I'll never forget this when he was, I think it was his Bulls farewell tour. He was playing the Hawks. They moved the game to the Georgia Dome just because they knew that many people would come. I mean, think about that. Just because Jordan was coming to town. I knew people in Anniston that were like, as soon as they moved it to the Georgia Dome, they bought tickets to go see Jordan.
What year was the Shea Stadium Beatles?
Oh, probably like 67, 68.
Yeah. That's the one where they come in like the station wagon. They ride right over the stage.
And they had to leave. They couldn't hear their instruments. Also, we didn't perfect
girls
playing.
just screaming and crying.
It's just deafening. And they're like, I can't. Ringo's like, I can't hear anything. We got to call.
They didn't have the in-ear stuff back then, did they? Yeah,
No.
You were just listening.
I don't know if I've got the emotion in me to see somebody and start crying. I guess if I hadn't seen my kids in a couple of years, but I've never understood the celebrity comes out and people just start bawling crying.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Oh, the Michael Jackson thing, like stuff like that, where just people.
Yeah.
Elvis, I touched his hand. I'll never wash my hand again because I shook his hand. That kind of thing.
I'm gonna go Jordan. I'm gonna go Michael Jordan.
I
He was
don't think
clearly
there's
the
a right answer.
best.
There's not a wrong answer.
Yeah. I don't know.
That is 4 Downs presented by Slice.
Yeah, 5 great locations. The original Lakeview, Vestavia, Montebello, Crestline Park, the newest location in Edgewood. Get into the Bajaya brothers, created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His legacy continues to be celebrated by his brothers Jason and Chris. Get in, see them, tell them the next round sent you. Local pizza, local ingredients. You're going to love it. It's Slice.
One more thing. I always say this with Mick Jagger and Keith Richards and Paul McCartney, people like that. Imagine, he's 82 years old, and imagine being world famous. You can't do anything for, 75% of his life?
Yeah.
That I can't go anywhere
Well,
not
that's
be recognized.
like Blake Griffin is, not Blake Griffin. I was going to say Blake Griffin's a unique dude, so he would stand out. But Blake Griffin in retirement, if he goes to Europe, nobody knows who the guy is. They're like, damn, there's a big dude. He probably plays some kind of sports in America. Michael Jordan can't go anywhere either.
True. He cannot.
But if you're at the grocery store and you see Michael Jordan, are you going to approach him?
Nope.
He's by himself in the cereal aisle.
Nope, because I know he's going to be a dick.
Yeah, I've heard enough about him.
You just do a sneak peek and then send
It's so funny you bring this up. I saw Paul McCartney was on TikTok. He's walking out of a restaurant. They pulled his car like from me to you to the door, and there's this group of people, and somebody's just filming the door. The door opens, and he sees the group of people, and he goes, "Ooh!" And they all start screaming, Paul, can you sign this? Can you sign this, Paul? Can you sign this? He goes, thank you, and gets in the car and rides away. Peace and love. He just says thank you.
Speaking of, I had the weirdest dream last night. Mike Madonna was in my dream. And we were I got sent to Disney World in Orlando, but it was like almost, it was the weirdest, the complete weirdest dream. But there was like some kind of outside venue, and somebody's like, Mike Madonna's in there. So I went and talked to Mike Madonna, got him on the show for us.
Oh, thank you.
Bette Midler was in the dream.
Oh wow, for the boys.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk to Mike Madonna.
It was a strange dream. People went into this like bunker, and then they came out like after a day of partying, and like I was on the outside watching these people come out.
Interesting.
They were all these weird drugs. It was crazy. Yeah. No edibles last night.
Were they the only ones with the weird drugs?
A couple of glasses of wine. That was it.
You need to get Lanya's Furniture to get you a new bed or something.
I talked to our man Reggie and John out there at Lanya's Furniture. I'm working on a couple of things for the kitchen right now. Our friends at Lanya's Furniture, they believe in getting more style for less. Lanya's offers a great selection of furniture for your living room, bedroom, dining room, home office, entertainment, and, of course, a great selection of mattresses. Lanya's can also help you with your home design and decorating. 3-week event is up right now at the store-wide savings driven by hot buys with price and products to play on the summer theme. Transfer your home into a beautiful escape with new furniture and decor pieces, from vibrant outdoor furniture to breezy home accents. Lanya's has everything you need to create your own sunshine sanctuary. Bring the sun inside with Lanya's Furniture. Save up to 10% store-wide. They've also got special financing plus tons of hot buys throughout the store. From Birmingham, you take that exit 280 off of I-65, the Hallmark Farms exit. Go south on U.S. Highway 31 for 1.3 miles. Lanya's is going to be right there on your right. You can call them for more information, 205-647-4311. When you're in Lanya's, though, make sure you tell them the next round sent you.
Bette Midler. That's a random dream inclusion right there. I thought of Bette Midler forever.
Wind beneath my wings.
Some
weird stuff going on in that dream, man.
You know who our MyBookie 40 and 40 team is. We'll talk some Miami Hurricanes coming up next.
Everything Alabama, all the time. Subscribe and set alerts at Roll Tide Pods on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
There is no better place to watch your favorite sporting events and enjoy great food than one of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons. The TVs are everywhere with your favorite sports, and the menu is second to none. From the great appetizers like the waffle cheese fries to the Avery Island salad, handhelds like the all-new chicken bomber, bistro specialties with a special taste of the Bayou, the amazing hand-patted burgers, the great po' boys, and the specialty drinks. Visit any of the 3 great Birmingham locations of Walk-Ons: Greystone, Stadium Trace and Hoover, and the brand new location in Trussville.
Hey, you. Summer's here. Time to get hot. And at New Balance Birmingham, that's just what we got. For a summertime vibe, see what's inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Golf season is here, and if you're looking for a great golf course with affordable rates, you need to check out the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. Woodward Golf Club is a semi-private club with membership opportunities available, but is also open to the public. You can book tee times online at this hidden gem by going to golfwoodward.com. For only $195 per month, you can enjoy unlimited golf 7 days a week. Membership includes discounted cart fees, unlimited range balls, and the use of our practice facilities. For more information on memberships and the course, check us out online at golfwoodward.com.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Maybe you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, or TikTok. While we're changing the game yet again, Tyler's Telegrams has been developed exclusively for you.
Hi, this is the lovable boy you know as Tyler the Intern. I'm a businessman now. I will come directly to your door and tell you every time a new piece of TNR content drops. For the low, low price of $740,000, you can be notified by me, one of the biggest stars of The Next Round, about that thing you missed. Sure, the rest of those social media services are free, but so is radio, and we all know how well that's trending.
Tyler's Telegrams is currently operating exclusively in Bibb County. Other social media platforms are available everywhere.
We continue on The Next Round. I saw photos just a moment ago shared by James Spann. Double red flags in Gulf Shores. So along the Gulf Coast, that sucks, man. You get a beach vacation to get the old double red flag.
Yeah, and that's current related. You know, when you see the purple, and when I was walking down Boardwalk last week, it said purple means marine pest. And I'm like, they're a little more than pest right now.
Yeah, I would call that a shark. We don't have to call them marine pest.
And I've said this a million times. You know, we were out last week when everything was going on after the shark attacks on Friday. I've been to the beach, I don't know, thousands of times. I have never seen a shark.
Really? So, with your own eyes?
Never with my own eyes. And so and I've seen them in aquariums, things like that, of course, but I've never seen one in the wild. But we're walking down the beach in Rosemary, and everybody's running up to the shore.
Yeah.
And so there's a shark, and Maddie saw it. She was like, yeah, there it is. I couldn't.
You still couldn't see it?
Couldn't see it. And there's one dude on a surfboard, out there, and he's the only person out there, and he's kind of like almost taunting
Was
the
he
shark.
trying to get it away from the shore, you think?
I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
But he kept going in and coming back, and I don't think he could actually control that. But the very next day, I was talking about, like, I've seen a ton of dolphins. And it's like I see dolphins almost every time. There was a pod of probably 60 dolphins that came through.
Yeah.
And some people were panicking early.
Rhonda Gadsden, Rockstar. Go ahead and say it.
He's the OG. The OG.
But it's just, I don't know. I've just never seen one down there.
Precision Sports Medicine Orthopedics bringing you part of the show today. Life can knock you down sometimes, and when you're doing things you love, like pickleball, golf, basketball, whatever, or things you don't really love, yard work, workout, things like that, pull your muscles, twist your back, break something, let Precision Sports get you back in the game. Comprehensive care to help you keep up with life. Make your appointment by going to precisionsportsortho.com/2024. That's precisionsportsortho.com/2024.
Would you guys get in the water right now?
No, I would not.
I wouldn't get in the water 2 years ago.
I'm not crazy about the ocean to begin with, as you well know.
Y'all are too bad to poll on that. Now, it was so clear when we were there. The waves were only like 2 feet, so there was really no break. So you could see everything for the first 100 yards out.
Yeah.
Like it looked like a pool, not exaggerating. And so, I had kids with me and I was like, you got to be really cautious. But we would go out in the water, stay about 5 or 10 minutes and come back in. I just felt like with the visibility, we were fine. But, Maddie was in Nashville this past weekend for Father's Day, and they were all like, y'all were insane to get in. And then talking to some other people that have been down there, they're like, there's no chance I'm getting in.
My daughter was there with some friends. My college-age daughter was there for some friends. I said, hey, you're not getting in the ocean. She goes, you did not have to tell me that. She goes, I was not getting in to begin with. I was like, well, good. I'm glad we agreed on that.
Yeah, we got there on Monday. Tuesday, there was nobody. I could look 100 yards this way, 100 yards that way. Nobody was in. And then Wednesday, people started to get back in.
Yeah. Let's do our MyBookie.ag 40 and 40 right now. We unveil a team every single day leading up to SEC Media Days. We're up to team number 17, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. It goes to the ACC. I can tell you without asking him, Lance is going to say, you guys ranked this team too low. We had 90-some-odd people doing the poll. People in sports media, many of you in our audience, you asked if you could be part of it. We selected a group out of our audience. You picked Miami, number 17. You like this team this year.
I like this team a lot. 17 is probably a 9-3 for the U, which, I wouldn't be shocked with that. Mario Cristobal coming into year 3, he is 12-13 in 2 years. He's getting paid way too much money. He's got way too much talent. This is a year something's got to happen. Now, of those 7-6 last year, of the 6 losses, 4 were one-possession losses. We remember the Georgia Tech was devastating. But that was all 100% on Mario Cristobal. But now you've got Cam Ward coming in, almost 14,000 career passing yards, 119 career touchdowns. Again, Damian Martinez in that backfield. Xavier Restrepo is one of those slot guys that can absolutely do everything for this offense. Offensively, they're going to be dynamic this year if Cam Ward can stay healthy. I think they could be favored up to 11 games. They've got tricky swing games at Florida.
It starts with a swing game. That is one of the most fascinating games of the season to me, Miami at Florida in week 1.
I'll just tell you this. If they get out of September undefeated, because they've got 3 swing games in September, at Florida, at South Florida, believe it or not, Bulls are going to be good, and then Virginia Tech with 21 returning starters. If they're 5-0 going to Cal, where they're going to be a healthy favorite, then I think the only other time they could be underdogs at Louisville, possibly Florida State. I don't see that, though. I think they're favored in 11 games. I think they go 10-2 this year.
I can't wait for any game, but Miami at Florida, that 2:30 ABC kick, first Saturday of the year. My goodness. that's a swing game, I think, for both Cristobal and Napier. It feels like a tone setter for both those guys.
I do, too. And, here's the thing. I'm a contrarian. Miami's probably going to be a 1 or 2 point favorite. Everybody's going to be on Miami.
You think so?
Yeah, and I could see this could be a Florida-Utah from 2 years ago. You remember Cam Rising throws a terrible pick there to end the game?
To this moment, the best moment for Billy Napier was that moment when Florida beat Utah.
Well, and I think this moment would match it. Because I think, Miami's going to come in ranked right where we have them at 17, between 15 and 20. So Billy Napier would have another opportunity to a top 20 win.
So you guys voted Miami number 17. I think both of us think Miami can play for the ACC championship. I think they're in a small group of teams that can do that. I would agree with Lance. I think 17 is a little bit too low. We'll talk some more about the Canes, one of their legends, and some more college football with Heisman Trophy winner Gino Torretta. Coming up in the next hour. MyBookie.ag. Play all those games right there at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag. Code next round to get that sign-on bonus when you use code next round when you sign up right there at MyBookie.ag. Gino Torretta talks some college football with us next on the Next Round.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, you. Summer's here. Time to get hot. And at New Balance Birmingham, that's just what we got. For a summertime vibe, see what's inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on The Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at The Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation, 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them The Next Round sent you, 969-8100 or MichelsonLaserVision.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at The Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, we're about to talk some college football, including the Miami Hurricanes with Gino Torretta. One quick reminder, because this is the last hour you can do this. Scott's going to put up that QR code again, and you can scan that QR code. Anheuser-Busch and our friends at Budweiser giving away 2 tickets to the game over at Rickwood Field that will air nationally on Fox coming up Thursday night. The Giants and the Cardinals playing here in Birmingham. Rare that you get that chance. You can either scan the QR code or text the word beer to 44834, 44834. While you're there, please make a donation to Folds of Honor. It's a great way to help raise money for a great organization at Folds of Honor that takes care of the families of the men and women that lay it all on the line for us. 2 tickets on the line. We'll draw for that at the end of the show. Text beer to 44834 or scan that QR code on your screen. The Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, Gino Torretta, now a college football analyst. You hear him on Sirius XM Radio. He is with us now on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. What is up, Gino? How are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Man, we're doing awesome. Thanks a lot. You got that old Orange Bowl behind you. I'm a lifelong Dolphins fan. That stadium, though, holds a special place in my heart as a Dolphins fan, and I can't imagine playing it. You guys, that place was raucous when y'all had it going.
I figure you would know what it was, knowing you're a longtime Dolphin fan. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be 25-0 in that stadium, and unfortunately, I think our baseball loses 25 games in a month every month they play in that state, in that location. So yeah, a lot of great memories and no losses. So
Oh, it was over 30 years ago, so I'm sure you're numb to the pain. But because of where we originate out of, I got to ask. Going into that game, I didn't think you guys could lose. I knew that Alabama defense was elite. You guys were a 7-point favorite in that game. But, watching film.
Actually, we were, I think, an 11.5-point favorite, but who's counting?
Okay. Watching film up until that game, did you realize how good that defense was? And ultimately, what went wrong in that game?
I did. Yeah, we did. I thought all of our team did. We were a patchwork offensive line group the entire season. There was one of the D tackles. I think he was Gregory was a D tackle. He was hurt in the Florida game. So Copeland and Curry were the two main guys on the defensive front, and Florida was able to double them and almost win the game in SEC championship game in Birmingham. And he was healthy, obviously, because we had, way back then, there was 50 games between your last game and your bowl game, or 50 days. And so I knew that was going to be a struggle. I mean, we had a converted tight end that was playing left tackle. He was 235 pounds. We had injuries all up front. And at the start, the game, my God, I can remember. I mean, listen, I think every great team goes into a game saying, this is what we're going to do. They don't really worry about what other teams do. They're just like, this is what we're good at doing. Make sure we're in the right play. Obviously, I could change the play, and like I did whenever I wanted to. And they would show blitz. And, I remember talking to Brother Oliver after, years later. They would show blitz, and I would check. They would fly out of it. We had to figure out what they were coming out of. But it didn't matter. They didn't need to bring pressure. They were killing us on the offensive front. We couldn't run the ball. Had a couple turnovers early, and that was just kind of the momentum of drive killers at the start. And I mean, our defense was on the field a bunch. I think Lassick had almost 300 yards rushing. I know the team did. So it was pretty much domination. They got us offensively, and then I think our defense just got worn out.
I was going to tell you this story at the end, but I'll do it now. I was at the Iron Bowl last year at Jordan-Hare, and at halftime, I was just talking to Eli Gold. You know Eli, that did the Alabama games forever. And your former teammate, Lamar Thomas, was doing a national broadcast.
He was doing the broadcast for me. Yeah.
That's right.
It was Thanksgiving, so I took the weekend off.
Good for you. So, hey, by the way, you missed a heck of an ending at the Iron Bowl.
I know.
So Lamar Thomas walks out of the booth and introduces himself and he says, hey, Lamar Thomas. And Eli says, Eli Gold, I do the Alabama games. He goes, how long have you been doing the games? And Eli says, since 1989. He goes, oh, then you know who I am.
That's Lamar. I can remember this. This was probably like the third series. And I always give, our good friend Taylor Zarzer, I was just like, man, I counted the ceiling tiles in that Superdome when we were there. And I can remember like three series. I come off the field, and I'm like, what are they – all I wanted to know was when they were showing blitz, are they coming out to two safeties or one? And then I can figure out, I'll make my checks and reads off of that. And one of our offensive coaches on the phone, he's like, well, we just got to figure it out. And I can't say what I said to him. I said, my head is hitting the concrete on the full field every play. I said, we don't have 3 more series to figure it out. And it was like, hey, listen, you guys have been down on that field. And I tell people, it was that place was the worst. I mean, they would roll out those big metal plates that they put in the middle of freeways and roads when they dig them up, and then they would just lay turf over it. So it was just an awful experience for us that night. But yeah, Lamar always makes sure he goes, well, I was there. We were there at 89 too. I go, yeah, we were, but we got our head kicked in 92.
Part of the early 90s, you guys won 29 consecutive games, which is unheard of unless you're Georgia right now. 23 with you as the starting quarterback. We're obviously previewing Miami. We've got them 17 in our 40 and 40 right here. But we were talking about programs that have fallen the furthest. And Nebraska was one of those teams, and obviously Miami's one of those programs. Can you put a finger on what kind of shifted from when you guys were winning championships to the downward fall after 2003?
Well, I'd like to say I think we've won the offseason 20 consecutive years. I don't know about you guys, but
I'm buying
down
it
here
this
in Miami,
year.
we're thinking national championship. At least I would say that the surrounding. I don't, because I know the personnel and what we have of the last 20 years going in. I think that listen, when you reach the mountaintop, it's very hard where there's not some type of complacency come in, and I think that for what Saban has done at Alabama, to lose staffs and the turnover and to still have the consistency and to be playing for a national championship, to what Georgia is doing now. I don't know if they've had the staff turnover that a Saban has had, but the player turnover and it's just a culture. And I think that when listen, we won 5 titles and 3 different coaches. Jim, with Howard, Jimmy, Dennis won 2, and then Coker, and then I think people just thought it was just plug and play. Well, it's not plug and play. It might be as long as you're working your butt off and recruiting and acquiring talent, then it is. It looks like it's easy, but it's not. And I think that the changes in listen, when I was in school, Miami, Florida State got the bulk of the talent in this state. I think that when we were down, the 3 of us kind of all the same time. I mean, listen, our run was great. Florida State was in the top 3 for 14 consecutive years. They just didn't, they weren't winning it as much as we were. They were probably the more consistent, I guess, in the tops. But schools came, Tuberville leaves Miami. He goes into SEC. He starts pulling kids out of Dillard and the high schools that he had success with in Miami. Saban starts coming down. Everybody starts coming down here. And then, you make some mistakes. Listen, Amari Cooper. I mean, Luther Campbell, who's a big Miami fan, rapper from down here, was around our program, went to school with guys that were older than me in our program. He brought Amari Cooper to a football camp in Miami, and basically he lit up our DBs. And the staff said he was too small at that point. Okay, you miss on him. That's just one player, but who is he related to? Then you get Judy and all these guys, whether they went to Alabama or Georgia. You had 25 years, Julio. You had 15, 20 years of wideouts, Hall of Fame guys, not just in college, in the NFL, that I would say you trace it to that. And I think that that's something that they missed on some guys. Heck, there's kids. I mean, I helped my daughter's high school a few years ago, and there was a kid. I was like, man, they got to recruit this guy. And listen, they told me Wanky had seen him, and same thing, Florida State. No, he's not big enough. And I'm like, he's bigger than my tight end when I played. This kid is a dog. He can play. And but listen, I think they just made some mistakes. I think they snowballed, and I think that a bunch of other teams in the country had success coming down here and selling their programs, and I think that's what Mario. I think he's done a great job in the last 3 years. That you got to recruit your butt off, and then once they're there, you gotta develop them.
Heisman Trophy winner, Miami legend Gino Torretta with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline as we talk about the Hurricanes. And you were part of that run of incredible quarterbacks from Jim Kelly to Bernie Kosar, Vinny Testaverde, after you, Ken Dorsey, guys like that. It's possible that Cam Ward is the best Miami quarterback since Ken Dorsey this year, unless I'm forgetting somebody. I rack my brain. I know Ja'Cory Harris put up some numbers, Brad Kaya, guys like that.
Derek King.
Yeah, I mean, you had some guys put some numbers up, but this Cam Ward kid can play, Gino. I don't know how much you've been able to lay eyes on him personally in Miami colors, but this guy has played everywhere he's been.
Well, I can say this. I've seen enough of him. The kid can flat out spin it. And obviously I'm excited about that. He's a dog. He's an alpha. He's a leader. I mean, he came right in and, he's doing stuff with the linemen as a group. And it just seems like, for any team to be successful, they have to be together. And I think that he's been awesome. I think he knew the scheme relatively from Shannon Dawson. Seems very similar. I think one of the big reasons he decided to come here than other places was really, I think it was one was our offensive line. They had success. They're big. They've protected the quarterbacks the last couple of years. So he was excited about that. I would love more experience in the wide receiver room. I think the 2 freshmen are talented as heck. They had great springs. But how many true freshmen are going to give you, 15 games to win it all? That's going to be tough. So, but yeah, I mean, that's why everybody's excited down here is just, I mean, he can spin it. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys that throw a ball and he's right up there in college for sure.
So Mario Cristobal going into year 3, he's 12-13, and we know one of those losses last year, the Georgia Tech loss, that had to be more than painful for you guys. But this is a guy that does win the offseason, and he's got a lot of talent. Where is he right now with an approval rating from Miami fans, and how important is this year for Mario Cristobal?
Well, I think you go the first 2 years. I don't think their personnel probably matched the hype. I mean, listen, like I said, we've won the offseason for 20 consecutive years since Dorsey left, and we were nowhere near that. I think this year they seem to have more of the talent that some of the excitement would be warranted, and I think that it's kind of a show me year. I think, I mean, this is year 3. Your talent's better. I mean, let's be honest. The ACC isn't the SEC in strength of schedule, and he's got a big one start of the year. I don't think that the Miami Florida game is probably like the Auburn LSU game a few years ago, where it was kind of whoever lost between Les and Gus was on the way out. Maybe in Gainesville it might be if we go up there and take care of business, but I think that game is critical. That Georgia Tech game, the worst part, I don't even know where I was flying back from. I was broadcasting the game. I was on a plane, and literally I look at the clock. I see the down and distance. I'm like, man, 4-minute offense. We just milk the clock. The game's over. I turned the channel on the TV in the airplane. I start watching. I think it was a Pac-12 game, and all of a sudden at the bottom, it just it's like the team in yellow. I'm like, wait a sec, the team in yellow is usually the winning team. How is that not Miami? I turned it. They had 30 seconds left, and the game was over, and they had the ball. And then I was like, oh, it was that had to be terrible for the kids. But major gaffe.
As you've traveled around, and for those that don't know, Gino, I mentioned you could hear it on Sirius XM and radio stations throughout the country. He does a game every Saturday. Favorite place to do a game from? Because you played at the Orange Bowl, you played in some great venues, but you've been able to visit venues you were not able to play in. Where's a place you do a game you're like, man, I love going there?
Love going to Auburn. I think Auburn's underrated. I think the broadcast booth sucks now because it's in the end zone. I used to love the photo deck out there. They're like, oh, we apologize. It's a photo deck, man. When you're out amongst the people and just the noise, LSU at night. Listen, Barkley, obviously Cal's in the ACC now. If it's a clear day, you want to talk about just gorgeous environment. It's not. It's not the college football that we're used to here in the South. It's not the SEC. But when you turn around in the stadium and you can see the Golden Gate and the Bay Bridge and San Francisco, I mean, there's not a prettier place to go see a game. But, I think the Big Ten, Ohio State's obviously, they keep adding seats and it gets loud. Michigan State are kind of quiet, I would say. I think we used to say, we played there in Michigan my freshman year. We always used to say it was the quietest 110,000 people because the stadium just is a bowl, kind of wide bowl. The noise really goes up. But Penn State's legit. Penn State is this Orange Bowl behind me. That's Penn State Stadium, but it holds 110 because it's an old erector set metal, and the noise just reverberates down to the field, and the people there are they're psycho. I mean, it's just I think I did the whiteout game last year. It was Iowa. It was raining, and people were out there tailgating like 8 hours before in the rain, and not just like a mist. It was raining, and you go in, and there's not an empty seat. They all got white on, and they got trash bags over themselves. It was, listen, I'm a fan, but I draw the line at tailgating and rain and being out in the elements.
For a decade, Miami and Florida State, I mean, that was the national game. And I can't believe I don't remember this. 1989, did Sebastian really go on the field and try to, with fire extinguisher, put out the
got arrested.
The spear.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. So 89, I only have 2 losses. One was at Alabama, and the other one was that one. So 89, Craig Erickson busted his hand a couple weeks before I started, and they made a big deal about our smoke. Florida State did, and running out in the smoke. Now we're on the road, so we don't have smoke. Well, our mascot, John Ruth, who's a buddy of mine, he was the Ibis, and he became Billy the Marlin. He was, unbelievable. Like,
what a career.
You go back to Sports Center highlights when, the pitcher blew out the window and he's driving behind. He was just absolutely crazy. So he gets, I don't even know how many fire extinguisher things he had, but he had them, and he was like, we're running out, and he blasts fire extinguishers. Well, you've been in hotels. You break the glass, it's like a federal offense or something. You're not supposed to do it. You're going to get arrested. So he starts blaring the smoke, and he's got the stuff on the field. And next thing we know, this was when Doak Campbell used to have a chain link fence around the behind us all the way around the stadium. We look over, and he's got like I don't even know. He had like the Morton sea salt, yellow, water suit on the top of his suit, and he's literally pinned against the fence, and like one arm behind his back, and they, he was. I don't think he was arrested. He always says I was detained. That was. But it was all because of us running out in the smoke, and he was trying to recreate that moment for us on the road, and the folks in Tallahassee didn't like it.
Fantastic. He is Gino Torretta. You will hear him on Sirius XM. Follow him throughout the college football season. Thank you very much for the time, Gino. Great catching up with you.
Yep. Have a good summer, guys.
All right, you too. Take care. Gino Torretta with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Fun conversation. I hate it. And look, we got great rivalries all the time in college football, but boy, that Miami-Florida State. Boy,
and it was mid-season. You remember they brought it up to Labor Day weekend back in the early 2000s. But before that, man, it was like an October game. It always came down to a final possession.
Bad field goals for Florida State most of the time,
And he's right. The more consistent program was Bobby Bowden in Florida State, but they just couldn't beat Miami some of those years.
They could not. And then you had and then Notre Dame got in that mix. Miami had the Catholics versus the Convicts in '88, where they went up and lost to Notre Dame. And then Florida State, I think in '93, went up there and beat them, didn't they? Or did they lose that game?
They lost that game.
They lost that game. So, Lou Holtz kind of got Notre Dame in that mix, too. Oh, boy, those are fun years. That's back when Florida State and Miami were playing as independents a lot. So they would play just this wild schedule.
Well, and you think about it, for a decade plus. Florida State for almost 20 years would have been in every single college football playoff. 4-team.
Yeah.
Now 12-team. Both of those teams are in every year.
Every year. Yeah. Boy, that was fun. All right, the lot coming up a little bit later on. NBA is over, so we're going to turn to heavy Major League Baseball over the next couple of months. It's presented every day by Hemp Hill.
Ended a really good NBA season. We had your Game 5 winner last night, easy winner with the Celtics. We were 3-0 for you. We'll continue to roll here at lanceslock.com. But Hemp Hill Services, I told you earlier, I had somebody reach out to me. Their AC unit went down. Hemp Hill's on site right now. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. 205-229-2090. Hard to stop a train. HempHillServices.com.
We talked about Cam Ward in that interview. So if you don't know who Cam Ward is, he started at Incarnate Word, which is FCS level school. Went to Washington State. Very good at Washington State. Very good at Washington State.
Well, put it this way. So this was when Jalen Hurts had just come off the Texas game last year. Probably his worst game of the year.
Yeah.
And Joel Klatt was on the show, and I asked him. He was like, Alabama is...
Bryce Young, not Jalen Hurts.
Not Jalen Milroe.
Jalen Milroe, excuse me. We both got it wrong.
Right.
Jalen Milroe.
Jalen Milroe was coming off his worst game. And I asked Joel Klatt, I said, if Alabama had a Cam Ward, and he said if Alabama had Cam Ward, they'd win a national championship.
And you would stand by that because they ended up in the playoffs.
You know, that was back in September. Look, and Milroe ended up getting better and better, and ultimately, you know, they were right there with Michigan at the end in the college football playoffs. But Cam Ward is a fantastic quarterback.
He can flat out spin it, is what Gino Torretta said of him. Here is what Cam Ward says of his decision to come to Miami.
That's probably one of the hardest decisions I had to make, from thinking I was ready for the end of the draft to knowing that I'm still not done yet in college. There's still food left on the table for myself, for this team. The guys that we returned from last season, majority of the O-line, we get the whole receiving core back, key pieces to the defense. So I think now it's just plug and play. You add a playmaker like myself in the backfield, along with good running backs like Fletch, CJ, AJ when he gets back. So at the end of the day, I feel like this is the right program, not only for myself, but guys who are here right now are going to end up coming here. So we're trying to build off what we did last year. Because at the end of the day, I mean, Miami, we got to get back up there. And it starts one game at a time, one practice at a time.
He will not put up the career numbers because he's a very short time at Miami. Do you agree with what I said to Gino, that he's got a chance to be their best quarterback since Ken Dorsey?
I do. You know, and Tyler Van Dyke 2 years ago, and ultimately was their quarterback. You know, he had a really, really good freshman season, and I thought he might end up being that guy.
Yeah.
But didn't work out, and, you know, he transfers out to Wisconsin. But I think Cam Ward could be that guy. And you had so many great Miami quarterbacks. But, yeah, Cam Ward a little bit different than those guys, but I think he's going to be really, really good this year.
All right, this is the Champies Hour. Sterling and the gang at Champies, they've opened the door. They are ready to go for lunch today. You can swing by and get that great lunch, those great chicken fingers, the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales that we love, the po' boys, great desserts, great sides, champieschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go get a great meal at Champie's Chicken, champieschicken.com. We will come back with trash. Rockstar will hit that big button next on the next round.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter at RockstarBHM.
Hey, you. Summer's here. Time to get hot. And at New Balance Birmingham, that's just what we got. For a summertime vibe, see what's inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about my friends at Michelson Laser Vision, located conveniently UAB Highlands. Almost 20 years ago, I went in for the procedure. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. When I went in, I had 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Now I have 20/15 vision, still 19 years later. Make the call today. Schedule a hassle-free consultation. 969-8100. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, Michelson Laser Vision. Make sure you tell them the Next Round sent you. 969-8100 or michelson-laservision.com.
You never know what we're up to here at the Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow the Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunceford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow @NextRoundLive across all platforms to join in.
Rockstar took a bike too late in the break. That is on me.
If you've had time to learn, man, you got to learn.
Well, you know, I'm used to
that football helmet would be really disappointed in you.
I
right
know.
now.
I would give you a head shake right now and a pursed lip.
Lunch starts at 12, I've heard.
I know. Don't forget, that is a good look. I like the helmet on there. That helmet was a gift from one of our audience members' kids, actually. Did that. I think he's 10 years old.
Yeah.
It's an extra own helmet.
Yep.
Cool gift, man, for somebody to do that for us.
I'm trying to remember exactly. I know I should know this.
It was given to us at the Floribama.
Yeah, it's Nick Johnston's friend's son.
Yep. I can't remember the kid's name.
Oh, this is going to be so bad. He's out of school,
he's
too.
going to
He
be
might
watching us. He's watching us right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you should have, before we even did that, I should have.
I didn't know it was going to come up. That's on me. That's on me. But we appreciate it. Out of Ohatchee, Alabama, down on the creek bank. And we appreciate him doing that. Good kid. By the way, as we come back, I want to remind you about the ticket giveaway we'll be doing in about half an hour right now. You've still got a chance to get in. Scan that QR code or text BEER to 44834, and you'll be in the drawing for 2 tickets to the game at Rickwood, the Giants and the Cardinals. Also, while you're there, make a donation to Folds of Honor. It is a charity that we wholeheartedly support. So does Anheuser-Busch. Budweiser has given $28 million over 17 years to Folds of Honor. So they support it. We support it. And we ask you to do the same. It is a great organization. They make sure that those family members, the spouses and children, men and women who have died in the line of duty, who are Purple Heart recipients, who are disabled, and also first responders, get college scholarships. Make sure their school is taken care of. One of the things, Lance, that we have learned in our support of Folds of Honor is how poorly our country does in taking care of the families of those that have been disabled or fall in the line of duty. It's unfathomable to me that we don't put them at the top of the list, but we don't put them at the top of the list.
I mean, and you know, I was talking with the general this past Saturday.
Yeah, General Pocopani was on the show.
Great guy. But we were talking about mental health and PTSD, and you know, June is PTSD month. And even our veterans, like, and I understand there's a shortage of therapists, but if anybody should be at the front of the line,
that's absolutely right.
It should be guys that went over and served and saw things that we can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And those guys, they're neglected when it comes to that as well.
So it is a sad state of affairs for our country in that we don't take better care of those families, but we don't. And that's why we need people like Folds of Honor, and they do a tremendous job. So this is your chance to support them, number one, but also a chance to win tickets. And we appreciate you getting involved in that. Just scan that QR code or text BEER to 44834 for your chance to win the tickets. We'll draw for those in about half an hour. Hey, a reminder before we get to trash, Way to Wellness, bringing you part of the show. They are the organization that helped Dunaway tremendously. Jim will tell you that his numbers were not heading in the way they should head, that he was not as healthy as he should be, so he went to a planforme.com. That is the website, a planforme.com, and visited Way to Wellness. He saw Leslie and their staff. They don't just do a cookie cutter plan. It is a plan that is specifically designed for you. Leslie and her board certified staff get all your vitals. They ask some questions. They make sure you are getting the treatment that you need to just get healthier. There's no contract. There are no sign-up fees. The consultation itself is free. Just go see if it can work for you. A planforme.com, a planforme.com, Way to Wellness. Your journey to healthy living, start at a planforme.com. It's going to be weird. This will be my second time in 2 weeks, Thursday night, to see the Giants play. That's kind of odd. But
It really is.
I know. When my
Not
family,
like they're the Yankees.
I know. It's the San Francisco Giants. When we were out in Texas, that's where I was last week. If people didn't know, my family went to Texas. We just tried to take my daughters, my girls, in the summer to places they've never been.
Let's go to the hottest place.
Yeah, we did do that, yes. So we went to Texas, and the Rangers were hosting the Giants. So a couple Friday nights ago, we went to that stadium. That's an incredible stadium, by the way.
I've heard it.
I mean, you ought to go watch the Dodgers out there. You'd love it.
It doesn't look like an incredible stadium on. I mean, it looks like a weird warehouse.
Yeah, yeah. And and outside, it's even strange. Like when you're there, you don't even really feel like you're at a stadium, but inside is incredible. It's like a concert. Place is wild, man. And I actually texted Buster. I was like, I don't know how many games you've done here, but this stadium's incredible. And Buster's like, it may be my favorite place to do a game. He's like, I wish we went there more.
Cool thing about Thursday, obviously, it's Throwback Rickwood, but it's going to, especially with the crowd and everything, it's going to be like an old school, like 20s or 30s. Are you willing to wear a fedora and a wool suit?
I thought about that because we're going to be out there representing the show, so I'm going to wear next round gear, or otherwise I would do that. But I did think, being Throwback, we really should go in our suits and ties. That's the way they did it back in the day.
Isn't it amazing how formal they were going to baseball games?
And the days were no cooler then. Yeah. It was still scorching hot out there.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
There it is, Jason. Sorry, it's Baylor. Yeah.
Baylor Smith. That's who did our helmet. Thank you, Jason. Baylor Smith.
I knew that.
I know. Yeah. It reminds you how you got him in trouble in front of his mom. You owed him one there. So Baylor Smith is the one that did
I will never
Dunaway's
forget it
helmet.
again, Jason.
Yep,
Shout out to Baylor.
Thank you, Baylor Smith. Great kid and did a tremendous job. With that helmet right there. So we'll be at the game Thursday night. If you're there, look us up. We're going to do some video stuff there. We'll be with our friends at Anheuser-Busch and Budweiser, who are representing and bringing the game to America there. So we can't wait to be part of that Thursday night. I look forward to seeing the Giants for the second time in a couple of weeks and the Cardinals. Unfortunately, Willie Mays not going to be there. I saw that story in the San Francisco Chronicle. They reached out to him, and I did not realize he still lived in San Francisco. I don't know where I thought Willie lived.
I say this with all due respect. I think there's probably a lot of people out there that don't realize Willie Mays still alive.
And that's why I was hoping he was there, because I consider him the best overall baseball player of all time. I know you
I don't know.
He's in the hunt.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah.
And there's a group of people that don't know who he is. And I'm sure they'll feature him a lot still without him being there. I just hate it he's not going to be able to be there. In his hometown with his team playing at an event like this.
I wonder if we're going to see a list of all the greats, I'm sure we will, that have played at Rickwood.
Would you be impressed if Willie Mays Hayes showed up?
Willie Mays Hayes may be there.
Wesley Snipes got nothing better to do.
Yeah. What's Wesley doing with his life?
Paying back taxes.
Mm-hmm. Nothing pays that like making an appearance at Rickwood Field, right?
Yeah, Rod is right. His son is going to take his place. I think his son is doing something with the minor league game tomorrow night with the Biscuits and the Barons, and then I think he will be there on Thursday as well.
Willie, the best of all time.
Oh, is the Barons game tonight?
It's tonight,
It's tonight.
Tonight. All right, so it's time for Rockstar to hit that big button, and we get to trash. Hit it, Rocky.
Yesterday was a little self-inflicted where I pried out that front control panel and cut them wires. They was kind of touching each other, shorting out the brain in the boat, and I didn't have no dash work, and I was back there hot wiring live wells, and it was my own fault.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process easy. And speaking of veterans, they are veteran-founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home or your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for all mortgages. Go online, mortgageright.com, or call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. You're kind of like me, man. You like a nice car, but you don't have to have one.
No, I just want it to run well. I discovered I really like the car I'm in right now. And we had a rental car that was a nice car, but it had some miles on it, and I heard some sounds I don't hear in mine and things like that. It made me appreciate mine.
Yeah, look, I mean, if I had all the money in the world, I'm sure my car choices would be a little bit different. I have people in my life that, like, it's almost one of their top priorities is a car. Yeah. I think this guy falls into that category. Man is stirring in controversy online after sharing that he canceled a family barbecue when his brother-in-law, quote, ran over his Porsche 911 while driving a large pickup truck. Now, in the post shared to Reddit, the man says his in-laws, extended family, and close relatives were heading to his home for the event when his brother-in-law arrived in the pickup truck. Quote, I see them pull in, and brother-in-law is the driver. He's on his phone. Because of that, he looks right at my car, and he's pulling in, still on his phone. He hits my car. Guess he thought he was a lot further than he actually was. At that point, the poster writes, the 911 was, quote, totaled, and the other guests were just starting to arrive. This is when I, quote, they started to show up, and I basically was steaming. I was not in a barbecue mood at the time, so I told everybody to take themselves and go home, that it's canceled. Now, the day after the canceled barbecue, the poster writes that his family was angry at him, including his wife. Some of the family drove 3 to 5 hours just to come to the barbecue. They should have just said, hey, look, dude, you can sit this one out if you want.
That's right.
Might be your house. You go cool down and come back when you want.
Yep, we still got the fire going.
You obviously aren't going anywhere.
Meanwhile,
we'll give you a ride if you need to leave.
Writes that he is, quote, still waiting on the insurance payout for the $225,000 vehicle that he only bought last year.
Well, why he's got bad insurance then if he's still waiting for the payout?
Hey, look, if you can afford a $225,000 car, then you probably have pretty good insurance, and it's probably not that big of a deal.
What car did you...
I wanted the 911 when I was a kid.
Did you? I was going to ask that because I did love the Porsches. There was a guy in my neighborhood that had a Porsche 911.
Oh, for some reason, I wanted a sparkling blue Firebird because I think because I saw one. I was like, "That is." I was probably 6 years old. Like, that is an amazing
I think
car.
a sparkling blue Firebird would still be a good look for you.
I'm still hoping.
And your cat's name Blue?
Russian blue.
No, it's a Russian
blue
blue cat.
Russian.
Yeah. Got anybody want a Russian blue cat? That's fat, full of
I
personality.
don't know if we can trust the Ruskies.
Great with babies.
Needs claws.
Yeah.
So a Japanese pianist has been arrested for stealing a flight attendant's apron.
As one does.
From a parked Airways plane in April. Kazuya Saito, you think I got that right? 34-year-old Tokyo resident admitted to the theft, with police quoting him as saying, quote, collecting women's uniforms is my hobby. I smelled it and wore it myself.
Collecting women's uniforms is my hobby, Rockstar.
Do you have one? What's your hobby?
That is a
Don't
sentence
judge.
you don't hear very
I've
often.
always
Smelling it
heard...
and wearing it is a little rough.
Yeah.
You guys, profilers will tell you, if somebody kills an animal, it is like kind of the gateway to maybe killing a human.
Yeah.
I'm going to say somebody that steals women clothes and sniffs them and then wears them.
Yep, that's a gateway.
It's probably a gateway to something you don't want to deal with.
But it being an apron.
Yeah, the apron's kind of weird, but I mean, coming off an airplane, that's about all you're going to be able to get.
So according to the website,
Not that I
Saito
know.
has won prizes at home and abroad and was a finalist at some kind of prestigious international contest for up-and-coming artists. Back in 2009, Saito was arrested June 12th for allegedly stealing the apron of the cabin attendant in her 40s from the aircraft's gallery on April 25th. Saito said he also stole an apron from an ANA plane back in June, according to police, who added that they have seized aprons and nurses' uniforms in his house.
What I'll give him credit for, he's honest.
Yeah, see, at least
like
he told us.
there
yeah.
was a mishap. No, like I took it, I smelled it, and I wore it. And I took another one too.
I had a couple flights.
That's an interesting logo on that.
It is, yeah. I don't think I'd wear that. I had a couple of flights last week. When they bring the drink service by, do you ask for the full can?
It's been so long, but yeah, I would, because those little thimbles they give you,
like they give you a little cup of ice, and she goes, what would you like? I would say, Diet Coke, can I have the full can?
Well, so if you go Bud Light, they give you the full can.
Well, yeah, but you're paying for that, and which you're also paying for the drink. You've just already paid for it in your ticket, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, do you think that's wrong asking for them? Because I was the only one that did it. Like nobody else did it. I mean, I don't care. I'm just wondering.
Well, because here's the problem. Like if look, I know Diet
rid of
Coke's
it anyway.
really popular, but they're going to get rid of it anyway. But if somebody doesn't have a Diet Coke for another 30 or 45 minutes, it's flat by that time, especially out of the can.
Yeah, I said, just give me the full can. I'm good.
Okay, here are animals that look cute but are dangerous.
We do. Disney does us a injustice on this because they take a lot of these animals and they humanize them, and they're vicious killers.
These are all different. These are some that you would never imagine. Girlfriend right now, Maddie, wants one of these. It's not going to happen, but the red fox.
You're not going to.
Elizabeth!
Red fox. It's the big one.
Here I come, Elizabeth.
So you mean to tell me you're not going to add a red fox to that zoo you've got over there with those two dogs?
I gave her a stuffed red fox for Christmas last year.
I would pay money to watch the red fox just get dropped into that situation you've got over there.
Well, it would be a complete melee.
Oh, well, of course it would. That's why I'd pay money for it.
Hey, you know what Bullet started to do?
Dead fox.
So Bullet has become a really good dog. Chili just wants to do her own thing. But Bullet has started to... we had our friend Sally brought her boyfriend over this past weekend, and he brought his gray lab. And so brought a tennis ball, and his lab would fetch it in the pool. So Bullet learned that. But Bullet will full out run, full extension, and dive into the pool to get the ball.
There you go.
So it's a good way to wear them down.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you ever go duck hunting.
Now, here are the negatives about the red fox. They have a charming appearance. It is a very unique animal, bright eyes, bushy tail. However, these wild animals can carry diseases such as rabies and should not be approached or underestimated. I don't know what that means by underestimated, but I'm going to believe it.
I don't think you can do. Oh,
he's too cute. He's not going to attack me. Look at him.
The dingo. I never would have walked up on a dingo. I mean, that's a dingo pup. That's a little unfair in that
those
picture.
Are kid dingoes.
But the dingo, Australia's wild dog. First pair of boots I ever had were dingoes. I'm sure some of the cheapest boots ever.
I think I had dingo boots. Yeah.
This dingo has a reputation for being deceptively friendly, but these canines are also known for their strong predatory instincts and become dangerous, particularly if they are threatened and are protecting their territory. I mean, any wild dog.
Yeah.
Proceed with caution. The leopard seal, just by the look of the leopard seal, would never mess with this.
Yeah.
Leopard seals are known for their expressive faces and spotted coats. Divers have reported aggressive behavior, which can sometimes lead to fatal encounters. Have we had fatalities from leopard seals?
I've not heard of that.
I don't know, but they always look like they just woke up.
Like in Alaska, do they go purple flag? What's the problem? They leopard seal.
Oof.
Right there off the coast. Don't want to get in the water.
Would you rather be in the water with a leopard seal or a sea snake?
Leopard seal.
Yeah, I don't know how.
See, I don't
what
think
would
the
be
sea
scarier?
snake is aggressive, though.
I don't know which is scarier, seeing one of these on land or being attacked by one of these in the water.
The water, because I'd rather, at least I'm not going to drown. Maybe I can survive the bites on land, but if it attacks me in the water,
sure as
it's
hell
like
can swim faster than you.
Yeah.
How about this one, the platypus? I'd recently heard this about the platypus. It's got the duckbill, of course, playful demeanor. However, male platypuses have spurs on their hind legs
look at
capable
those.
of delivering venom painful enough to put a human down.
Yeah, I mean, look at those. Those could do some damage right there.
Yeah. And finally, never knew this one, the swan. Swans are relegated to geese and ducks and are considered to be the most beautiful and elegant of the three waterfowl species. They definitely appear to be calm creatures. The mute swan, however, is quiet but fierce, and males are extremely territorial during the breeding season. It is considered to be one of the most dangerous birds in the world. You could snap that thing's neck so easily.
I played a wedding, years ago, and these were around, and they are so territorial. Like, they run after you. Like it's a scary situation, and it was hot.
And there were swans there. They were coming after you. Were they doing that?
They're doing the Caitlin Clark.
Hey man, I love that. Whatever the hell, the heart thing.
Oh yeah, that's what that reporter did. That Greg Doyle cat.
Yeah,
he did that to her, right? And he got suspended. No, he didn't get suspended, but he couldn't cover their games or something.
Yeah. Next thing you know, he's gonna be stealing an apron.
That's a gateway. You make a heart signal to Caitlin Clark, and all of a sudden you're stealing aprons.
That is trash. Brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right. It is buying season. Our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Before you take the next steps on a home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information by going to their website, mortgageright.com/TNR, or call their Birmingham office, Highway 280, 205-900-7200.
Troy says the sea snake has one of the most potent venoms. If they bite you, you're dead.
But they're not aggressive.
So you just got to stumble into their territory.
Yeah.
Where do you find a sea snake? Where are they?
So when I was in Cabo a couple of years ago, they are in the what is that? What is the sea? Sea of Cortez.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're there, but I mean they're indigenous to Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, but I'm not going to see them at PCB.
You're not going to see them in the Gulf. No.
Yeah, not in the Gulf. No. So no sea snakes.
Now if you go to Logan Martin and do a cannonball off a pier, you might get a water moccasin.
Oh, I've seen water moccasins.
And those are aggressive.
Yeah, I've seen water moccasins. I mean, you grew up in the Coosa. Well, you're fortunate to see anything in the Coosa, but there were water moccasins all over the place in the Coosa.
Yeah.
Now you couldn't see your hand under the water most of the time.
No. Any place you swim, you get out, the liner or the bathing suit is brown.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't get back in that water.
Yeah, but you know what we did every weekend?
I know.
We didn't think twice about it. It's the Coosa that's got the Logan Martin Dam, which people swear as I was growing up, we've discussed this before, that it's probably an urban legend, that there were catfish the size of Volkswagens at the bottom of that dam.
I've heard that. Well, in the Tom Bigby, which is, I think, the last river I've been in, and by the way, the liner in the bathing suit was brown when I got out.
Sure.
I was told there's a lot of alligators in the Tom Bigby.
Really?
Along with water moccasins. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I didn't think alligators came this far north. But I think somebody saw one at Smith Lake not long ago.
Yeah.
I think somebody saw one at Smith Lake.
Yeah. Crocodiles don't. We could ask Gary the Gator.
Yes.
They're racist as hell.
The crocodiles are racist? Yeah. The alligator, he treats everybody the same, though, right?
Yeah, we include everyone.
I heard that.
Everyone's invited to the table except crocodiles.
I remember E.G. telling me that. Hey, again, we're going to give you one more warning, maybe. And I have just been told by our friends at Anheuser-Busch, this is 2 pair of tickets. Maybe I've been saying that wrong all day.
I didn't know that.
2 pair of tickets.
2 pair of tickets.
2 pair of tickets to the game. So we're going to give away 2 pair coming up soon. Scan that QR code on the screen that Scott is showing you right there.
Are they sitting by us?
He said they can make that happen. All right. 44834. Just text the word beer to 44834 or scan that code, that QR code that Scott has on the screen right now. We ask you to be so kind while you're there, make a donation to Folds of Honor, foldsofhonor.org. If you don't get a chance to do that, you can always go to foldsofhonor.org and do that. Amazing organization. 93% of 93 cents of every dollar you donate goes right to the scholarship fund. That is outrageous when it comes to charities. You don't see a return that high, but 93%, so low overhead. foldsofhonor.org, and Anheuser-Busch and Budweiser have supported them for years, 17 years now. We support them as well. Beer to 44834. Scan that QR code.
Do you think I did us a disservice? Did I downgrade our tickets by asking if they're going to be next to us or upgrade? Okay,
All right.
We didn't do it.
All right, so we stayed right where we were.
There we go. Michelson Laser Vision. Make the phone call that I made over 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Ask her about the pre-inflation pricing. They're going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. You have zero to lose to find out if LASIK is right for you. Again, I was wasting money on contacts and solutions for about a decade. Went in, got the procedure done. Only took 12 minutes for both eyes. I've got 2015 vision, better than 2020. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
In the mybookie.ag chat room, Troy says, not urban legend. Weiss Lake, part of the Coosa. I know rescue divers that have seen catfish the size of a Volkswagen there, said it almost made him crap himself.
Wow.
But I don't think they can move.
I guess you can't noodle those, right?
No, I don't think so. But I don't think the catfish, though, can move at that point. They're just eating whatever comes past them because they're bottom feeders.
Wait, was that including people?
Well, I don't know. I think I could swim away from a catfish the size of a Volkswagen.
Challenge?
Next time I lose the bracket, you remember that one. All right, we draw for those tickets and wrap up the show next on the next round.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at scottforestertv.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Spring weather is here, and our friends at Hemphill Services are offering a $69 HVAC tune-up plus 10% off any service call when you mention The Next Round. Call Adam, Chad, and the guys at Hemphill Services. Make sure your HVAC unit is ready to keep up with the changing weather. Hemphill Services, locally owned and operated independent train dealer. The team can service all makes and models. For all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs, call Hemphill Services. It's hard to stop a train. 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com. That's 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Hey, you. Summer's here. Time to get hot. And at New Balance Birmingham, that's just what we got. For a summertime vibe, see what's inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
When on YouTube, you constantly hear requests to please like and subscribe. Well, here at Disrupt Media, we aren't going to play that game. Those demands are frankly outdated. So we just want you to hit like or subscribe. It's like a choose-your-own-adventure novel. Pick a path, hit like, or hit subscribe. It's your call. We don't care which, just pick one. Or go to Roll Tide Pods and do it. Or War Damn Pods. Or the Disrupt Media YouTube channel. Or the Meltdown. Just make a decision and stick with it. Like or subscribe, the choice is yours.
All right, we're going to draw for the tickets in just a moment. 2 pair of tickets to the game over at Rookwood. First, I want to hear from Jason Tatum after the Celtics closed out the Mavs last night. And the one reason I play this is to set up. Scott showed me a photo this morning that is epic of Jason Tatum. If I'm him, I have got the biggest size of this framed in my house I could get. First, here is the Celtic star Jason Tatum talking about winning his first NBA championship with the Celtics last night.
People have said it before, but coming up short and having failures makes this moment that much better. Because you know what it feels like to lose. You know what it feels like to be on the other side of this and be in a locker room and hearing the other team celebrate and having them celebrate on your home floor. Like, that was devastating. And now to elevate yourself in a space that, you know, all your favorite players are in. Right? Everybody that they consider greats or legends have won a championship, and all the guys I looked up to won a championship, multiple championships. So now I can like walk in those rooms and be a part of that. It's a hell of a feeling. This is more. I dreamed about what it would be like, but this is 10 times better.
Good for him, man.
Well, look, I mean, he needed this. He really did. Because, again, this has been, you make the argument, the best overall regular season organization in the last 3 or 4 years. But what they were lacking was a championship. 2 years ago, they played for one. As he said, Golden State knocked him off home court there. And he is a top 10 player in the NBA, but he was going to be one of those that legacy really isn't cemented, unfortunately, for the best in basketball until you get a championship. Now he's got that monkey off his back. He's only 26 years old. He's still got great basketball in front of him.
Scott is showing the celebration with his son, but take a look at this photo. I don't know who snapped it, don't know who to give credit to. Scott's got the credit.
Oh, that's great.
Look at that photo. Would you not have that thing plastered all over your house, holding his son up with the confetti in the background?
When we did the 4 Downs a couple of weeks ago, by far, the Lady Bird was the best picture out of that. But that would have been. Oh, yeah. That's Pulitzer right there.
Getty Images catching the image of the day. Nathaniel S. Butler. Great job, Nathaniel S. Butler. You sound like a
earned his
Civil War general
yesterday, didn't he?
Yes. Nathaniel S. Butler is a Civil War general or a Getty Images photographer, Rockstar. Which one?
A Gettysburg Images.
Am I right or am I right?
Hey, the Celtics, they went into it. Like that confetti is diced down a lot more than most confetti. Would you agree with that?
You're saying it looks smaller? It looks like they chopped it up a little bit? Maybe
like
so.
They went at least an extra round on the confetti.
Yeah,
Look at
boy,
it looks like
a lot
snow.
of it, too. Green and white confetti there in Boston. The Celtics with NBA championship number 18, which either ties them with the Lakers or puts them one ahead of the Lakers, depending on how you count the NBL championship.
Yeah, I'm going to take the
Lakers
NBL
won.
out. I'm going to say the Lakers,
they're one back now?
Yeah, I'll say they're one back.
Yeah, so it's 18 to 17. 18 to 17 now.
I feel better about the Celtics' future, by the way.
The Lakers?
Yeah, I do.
Yes. You think that Joe Mazzulla, was Mazzulla not the guy that got the job when Johnny Cogden was on with us from ABC 3340 out at the Regions 2 years ago, and he's like, we didn't hire a guy from the bench. We hired a guy from the second bench.
Yeah.
We hired the guy that passed the clipboard over to our coach.
Well, Mazzulla knows what he's doing,
That guy
man.
has turned out to be a heck of a coach.
He really has.
I mean, it's almost like the Eric Spoelstra path, right? Spoelstra was a guy that just almost hung around long enough that he got the job, and he's turned out to be a tremendous NBA head coach.
Well, I remember Mazzulla playing at West Virginia. And Mazzulla, I mean, the thing about Mazzulla is I don't know if they get enough credit in that organization, and NBA coaches in general, unless you have a Popovich or a Phil Jackson-like career or a Spoelstra. But, Mazzulla is a guy that he's only 36 years old, so he's got a ton of coaching in front of him.
Yeah. A reminder before we give away the tickets, Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken has brought you this hour, champyschicken.com. Go see Sterling and the gang. Enjoy a frosty Bud Light there while you enjoy your great chicken fingers. The Mississippi Delta Mississippi Delta tamales, the great po' boys, sides, desserts, champyschicken.com, champyschicken.com, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Before we draw for these tickets, we've only done this during the show today, but I want to tell you how much we appreciate it. They were just giving us the numbers, how much you guys have just donated to Folds of Honor. Whether you win these tickets or not, the amount you've donated to Folds of Honor, I hope you know how much we appreciate that, and Folds of Honor does as well. Anheuser-Busch has supported them for years. It's a charity we support.
Just to put it in perspective, the money before we went on the air that was in has doubled.
Yeah, just in the time they've been in here.
That's what you guys have done. We appreciate you recognizing what a great cause this is. And, my goal, and I'm sure you're right there with it, until the day I retire, we want to make this at the forefront, and we want to be
Folds of Honor
behind this. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, if you don't know what they do, they make sure the spouses and children of those that have been killed in the line of duty, Purple Heart recipients, disabled veterans, and first responders get college scholarships. So they're taken care of. We as a country do a very poor job taking care of those people. So organizations like Folds of Honor step in, and they couldn't do it without Budweiser and Bud Light and Anheuser-Busch, who have donated almost $30 million over 17 years to them. And you know Bud Light very near and dear to us, and they are the ones that are presenting the tickets. Our friends from Anheuser-Busch. You got me the names right here. I got it. All right, so here we go. So, oh boy, you gave me a tough name. 2 pairs of tickets. The first pair, and Anheuser-Busch will be in touch with you to get everything organized. You'll be sitting very close to us in the stadium if that matters at all to you.
Yeah, you might not want to, but
who knows?
That's the way it
but
is.
You'll be sitting very close to us there at Rickwood Field.
Are we going to recognize these names, Brown?
One sounds vaguely familiar, but it's a fairly regular name. Stephen Kelly. Stephen Kelly is the name.
I don't know.
Stephen gets the first pair of tickets.
Congratulations, Stephen.
Congratulations, Stephen Kelly. You've got 2 hot tickets there. And then, I'm not going to know how to say this last time. I'm going to give it a whirl here. Rod Cliett, Cliett, is how you say that. Rod Cliett, C-L-I, what?
Oh, make sure you got, there's different ways.
Rod doesn't care. He got his tickets,
he's got his 2 tickets.
Butcher my name. Give me my ticket.
That's right. So there you go. Stephen and Rod, I hope you guys are watching and you just realized you won. But if you had to step away, Anheuser-Busch is going to be in touch with you and you are going to be their guest at the Rickwood Field game, the Rickwood Classic.
My first baseball game of the year.
My second Giants game of the year. I played in a charity softball game at Rickwood. I've never watched a game at Rickwood.
I've actually played in 3 baseball games at Rickwood.
Have you ever watched a game there, though?
Yeah. I saw some Barons games. This is dating me. I also saw UAB play the Cardinals in 1982.
Didn't you see Ty Cobb play?
You were in that
I was actually in that movie, too.
Yeah,
so
he looked a lot like Tommy Lee Jones.
I played a fake baseball game there, too.
Yeah. So there you go. Oh, look, I think Rod's in the chat there. I think.
Okay, good.
All right, good job, Rod. You got him.
I see you, and Bob's got a good question. I'm riding with Brown, so no.
Yes, there you go. Congrats, Rod and Stephen. We look forward to seeing you guys at Rickwood. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Odd guest list tomorrow. There's no connection. Skip Holtz is going to be in studio with us. Chris Jans, the Mississippi State basketball coach.
We ain't proved Mississippi State in number 16. I guarantee you that.
Basketball. Chris Jans, basketball. And Skip Holtz on the show tomorrow. We'll see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.